All right, Dave, are you ready for me? You're not Dave. Hi. All right. I'm calling this meeting to order at 5 o'clock. And first, we will take comments on closed session items. So if anyone has any comments on closed session items, you can bring the card up here. If not, I'm going to adjourn us to closed session until open session starts at 6 o'clock. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lucky, yeah. All right. Are we ready to record? Cool. Um, I'm reconvening this meeting at 6:05. Thank you all for your patience. We are just coming out of closed session. And now trustee Cloud is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. We're going to start with our students of the month, and we have one Colt from Kenilworth to recognize. If Kenilworth can come on up.
Student of the Month, November 2024. Kenilworth Junior High School is proud to introduce our November Student of the Month, Emily Chavola Martinez. Emily has been chosen Student of the Month because she is hardworking, motivated, polite, friendly, and respectful. Emily has maintained excellent grades at Kenilworth and has impressed her teachers by being a positive leader by example on campus in her classes. Mr. Radke, Emily's science teacher, enthusiastically shared, "Emily is a standout student in class. She is engaged, has strong work ethic, and is a helpful group partner. Emily is unafraid to speak her mind, ask questions, and advocate for herself and others. Emily goes above and beyond using her bilingual skills to assist students learning English. Emily is a genuine pleasure to have in class."
Emily's leadership skills have extended beyond the Kenilworth classrooms. Impressively, as a seventh grader, Emily participated in the Petaluma City Schools Safety and Culture Forum held at Petaluma High School. Outside of school, Emily enjoys helping her dad at his job, working and caring for horses at a local stable. Emily is also an active participant and volunteer at her church. After completing Casa Grande High School, Emily would like to attend UC Davis, where she hopes to earn a degree in veterinary medicine that focuses on equine care. We at Kenilworth are confident that Emily has a bright future ahead of her. Congratulations, Emily.
I was scanning the audience, but I just want to confirm that Emily is not here. Is that correct? Oh, Emily, come up. I looked at you and then I was like, I don't know. Come on. We want to celebrate you. Let's see, McNair. What do you say for Emily?
And Emily's friends and family, if you could also stand up. Do we want to recognize you? Tell me. Yeah. Congratulations. And moving on to Petaluma Junior High, can we have the readers and the students come on up?
Petaluma Junior High is proud to announce our. Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Petaluma Junior High School is proud to introduce our November Student of the Month, Tristan Melcon. Tristan's teachers chose him as Student of the Month because he is an exemplary student in many ways. Tristan demonstrates integrity, drive, and dedication. His teachers share that Tristan is hardworking and helpful. He can often be seen explaining concepts to his teammates in math and engaging in lively group discussions. In addition to being an outstanding scholar, Tristan also plays the oboe in the school band and participates on the PJHS cross team and attends the chess club weekly. Tristan says that he enjoys many things about PJHS, especially activities like playing chess and running cross country with his peers. Tristan likes to push himself, and he's looking forward to being able to take more challenging math classes in high school. After high school, Tristan plans to attend college and pursue a career in math or coding. In his spare time, Tristan likes to read and play soccer. Tristan's family describes him as an analytical trailblazer who does not back down from a challenge. Tristan is the oldest of 4 siblings and imparts his wisdom to his younger siblings. Importantly, Tristan is modest about his accomplishments and he is kind at heart. We are lucky to have Tristan representing PJHS as our November Student of the Month. Congratulations, Tristan.
Congratulations, Tristan. And can Tristan's friends and family please stand up so we can celebrate you all too?
Petaluma Junior High is proud to introduce our November Student of the Month, Billy Goldstein. Billy was chosen as PJHS Student of the Month by her teachers, who describe her as an intelligent leader who inspires others. Billy has an excellent work ethic and distinguishes herself with her intellectual curiosity and confidence. Billy's favorite thing about PJHS is the friendly and supported staff, especially Mr. McClintock. She also enjoyed playing sports such as basketball and volleyball. Billy is also very social and enjoys spending her time with her friends. Billy's excited about the expanded elective offerings in high school. Billy plans to attend college, but she's not sure where or what she would like to study. Billy's family is also incredibly proud of her accomplishments. Brett, Billy's dad, shared that she is a vibrant young person who is dedicated to her academics and her extracurriculars. He also noted that Billy has the support of an amazing supportive friend group. Billy is passionate about volleyball and enjoys the coaching and leadership of the PJHS volleyball team. Billy's family cannot wait to see what the future holds for her, and neither can we. We are lucky to have Billy representing PJHS as our November Student of the Month. Congratulations, Billy.
Congratulations, Billy. And can we have Billy's friends and family please stand and be celebrated? Congratulations again, Tristan and Billy, and thank you to all of our readers. And moving on to Casa Grande, let's hear about some gauchos.
First, we have Mariana Meded. Sorry, I cannot pronounce her last name. Mariana is currently a senior at Casa Grande High School who has taken many rigorous honors, AP, and dual enrollment courses. The challenges posed by the courses, as well as the success she has arrived through hard work, has inspired her to attend a 4-year university and major in economics. With the ultimate goal of becoming a corporate lawyer, Mariana has always loved teaching others about subjects and topics she finds interesting, which is why she has been working at Kumon, a learning center, as a math tutor since she was 12 years old. Mariana has also works as a game master at Petaluma Escape Room and as a bookkeeper and secretary for a construction company. Mariana's passion is to share her interests with others. Also led her to become the founder of Casa Grande's Film Club, which focuses on the viewing and discussion of movies, but also allowed Mariana to participate in and County Film Festival. In the summer, Mariana volunteers at Russian Scouts organization, teaching children about the language, culture, religion, and history of the country she immigrated from at 10 years old, Russia. Mariana also loves volunteering at TaxAid, a program helping low-income individuals complete their taxes for free in the Bay Area. Outside of school, Mariana can be found learning about history and world cultures, reading, writing short stories of her own, or working for a trip to Europe this summer. I do not believe either of our students
Okay.
of the months will be here tonight.
Well, let's give it up for Mariana.
Next is Alyssa Lopez. Alyssa is currently a senior attending Casa Grande High School who has made it a point to challenge herself throughout her schoolwork and lead herself and her academics with ambition and creativity. Since elementary school, Alyssa has been eager to learn about all subjects and blend her problem-solving skills with her imagination. At Casa Grande, she has taken 18 honors/AP courses, been a member of the Honor Society for 4 years, and shown her kindness and charisma by earning the Betty Pruvis Humanitarian Award in 2022. While taking the most advanced classes the school offers, she also loves to immerse herself in competitive dancing, traveling, reading, writing, and baking. At a studio in Petaluma, she frequently volunteers to help share her passion for dance with other children and wishes to continue this in her future. Alyssa hopes to attend a four-year university to continue her academic growth and gain new experiences.
Thank you for reading for CASA. And next up, Petaluma High. Any readers and any students of the month that are in the audience?
Okay, first up, we have Micheline. Micheline has come a long way and definitely feels empowered. With the culture shock she's experienced coming from one of the Caribbean island countries to the United States, she has had to learn new perspectives on life and get used to them. Micheline has certainly grown since her first day at Petaluma High School. She learned to be confident in herself through the courses she has taken. Aside from the difficulty of the classes, Micheline has had to deal with the struggle of understanding English. With the help of her teachers, she can say that her English has improved a lot. With her fluency in Spanish, French, Haitian Creole, and now English, Micheline is going to use these blessings to help others in the future as a psychologist. Micheline's teachers all say she is one of their hardworking students in their classes. Micheline is a very resilient and forward-thinking student. She sets goals for herself and works steadily to achieve them. Though she has encountered plenty of obstacles along her journey immigrating to the United States, she is friendly, positive, and pushes forward. She is committed to learning English in addition to simultaneously nurturing her skills in Spanish and French by taking both AP Spanish and AP French. In her interactions and discussions with other students, she is thoughtful, thinks deeply about subjects, and shares her thoughts and opinions readily. Her teachers appreciate her desire to participate in both small and large group discussions. Her participatory nature, dedication, and her culturally diverse experiences living in different countries make her an asset to the class. Her teachers feel very lucky to have had the privilege of teaching her. Micheline plans to attend Santa Rosa Junior College next year. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Micheline. And do we have Micheline's friends and family in the audience? Can you all please stand?
Okay, up next we have Sandy Maldonado Lemus. She's a senior who has attended Petaluma High School for all 4 years. She demonstrates passion for her school community by participating in many school programs and activities. She is an AP and honor student, president of the Bilingual Student Ambassadors, and a Link Crew leader. She has enjoyed being a part of the school community, especially with hosting Noche Hispana, where families got to enjoy Hispanic culture with a live band and authentic Hispanic food. BSA has helped her stay engaged and involved on campus. She believes this small club where she is allowed to express her cultural identity has helped her feel confident and proud of her heritage and also inspire others to feel the same. Petaluma High School has not only enhanced her leadership skills with others, but has also taught her to be the leader in her own life as well. Next year, she hopes to attend a four-year college where she will study political science and hopes to one day become an attorney to continue to help her community. She would like to first thank God over all things and her mother, spiritual parents, best friends, and school faculty. She is eternally grateful for Petaluma High School and the many opportunities and memories it has created. She is beyond excited to soon start this new journey in her life. She hopes to leave a small legacy at Petaluma High School, but also take a piece of PHS with her wherever she goes. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Sandy. And do we have Sandy's friends and family in the audience? Can you please stand? Yeah. Thank you all. So many amazing students of the month. And now we're going to move on to students of the semester. If I can have the readers and students of the semester from Mary Collins at Cherry Valley come on up.
Hello, my name is Belen Quinto, and today I'm speaking for an amazing student, but also my best friend, who Cherry Valley Mary Collins School is proud to announce, Poppy Norwit. Poppy is in the 8th grade and was nominated as Student of the Semester this year because of her contribution and cheerful presence around the school. Poppy is a wonderful and hardworking student. She has a passion for music, specifically guitar, and she deeply cares about her rowing team, North Bay Rowing Club. And she dreams one day of going to regionals. She enjoys learning about Greek mythology and reading. Post-COVID, she worked at her parents' restaurant establishment, Wishbone. Poppy's favorite class is history, and she hopes to attend college and be an archaeologist when she grows up.
Congratulations, Poppy. Do we have Poppy's friends and family in the audience? Can you all stand?
Hi, my name is Asher Dobson, and I'm speaking for my friend and our student of the semester, Towns. Towns came to our school in 2nd grade, and since then he has changed so much. Now he's a hilarious and passionate straight A student. He loves math, spends hours birding and penning through his extensive life list and playing music. He has been described by friends as intelligent and unique, and they're right. There's no one quite like Towns, and definitely no one who can make us laugh as hard. Recently, he has been practicing fencing, karate, and music. He loves listening to jazz and classical music, as well as playing it on his saxophone. It takes someone truly special to accomplish all of this in stride, as Towns does, but it's not hard to see how he does it. He is steadfast and determined, even stubbornly so, but intelligent enough to know when he needs to make a change, and he is known by teacher and student alike for his loyalty and compassion. Towns is someone I can confidently say is worthy of being student of the semester. He has worked hard and endured many challenges, but through all of them, he has remained singularly, wonderfully himself.
Congratulations, Towns. Do we have Towns's friends and family in the audience? If you all could please stand. Congratulations to all of our students of the month and students of the semester. We are so inspired by all of you do and all of your families and teachers' support for everything. And moving on to our PCS Rockstars Employee Recognition Program.
Thank you. All right, we are excited to take time this evening to recognize the outstanding contributions of our adult education team. We can clap. Their dedication, passion, and commitment to empowering learners have made an incredible impact on our community, and today we celebrate their hard work and achievements. The adult education team plays a pivotal role in helping individuals reach their full potential, providing essential skills, supports, and resources that make a difference in the lives of our adult learners. Whether it's through literacy programs, career development, or personal enrichment courses, their work is shaping futures and opening doors to new opportunities. We proudly recognize and celebrate the tireless efforts of our teachers to create inclusive and supporting learning environments. Whether it's teaching citizenship, English as a second language, high school equivalency and diploma, or career technical education and community interest courses, the adult education team goes above and beyond to ensure every student feels valued, motivated, and empowered to succeed. Our childcare and parent education staff are often unacknowledged yet essential to support the range of services we can offer to adult learners. Childcare makes that possible. The Family Resource Center keeps our community intact and positively impacts our adult community by addressing the underlying needs and supports required to ensure community access in adult learning. And finally, we can't forget our classified staff in the main office who keep everything afloat with grace and efficiency. Please join us in congratulating and thanking the members of the adult education team for their exceptional service, passion, and commitment to education. You are truly making a difference. We can cheer again, sure. Lots of cheers for them. I did pause. Lots of cheers. We have many of the members from our adult education team here. We'd invite you to come forward and be recognized for this well-deserved accomplishment. However, many of our adult education staff are actually teaching right now, so they may not be here, and we'll still read their name and clap for them very loudly. Come forward and receive your certificate from Superintendent Mondragon. And after the break, all of our adult education team join us right outside the room. We have an appreciation table, and we have a little gift we'd love to you to select. So here we go. First, Carla Coteau. Alexis Bloom. Camille Alpert. So I'm going to adjust them a little bit. We have like 56 names. So I'm going to read all the names kind of slowly, but we'll clap at the end. And that way we can, because McNear is waiting here patiently. We just did Camille, right? Camille? Okay, perfect. Kara Virapath, Scott Granger, Catherine Crotty, Chrissy Zotalis, Danielle Mikola, Danielle Stewart, Danny Beaver, Deanne Jean, Janine Bender, Jen Valerius, Julie Petterich, Carla Lunabus, Lane Jen, Linda Thompson, Lisa Broderick, Oscar Guajardo, Rita Martinez, Shara Server, Tracy Dorrance, Vicky Meister, Gregory Carroll, Adriana Perez de Lopez, Anna Cordova Balik, Arlene Burney, Barbara Golden, Bhavana Modi, Ceylan Crow, Dana Davis, Erica Schaefer. Here we go, Erica. Fatima Amanasser, Gregorio Altamirano de Orengo, Juana Brambila Silva, Kendall Daisy Pratt, Leticia Rojas, Lisa Hug, Lorena Ojeda Liera, Cindy Leupold. Cindy's here. Maria del Carmen Valencia, Maria Elena Gonzalez, Martha Ramos Santos, Mary Bazan Miran, Michaela Wallen, Murea Lopez Carranza, Remedios Velasco de Mendez, Maria Rosario Estrella, Sahara Sandoval, Sheila Siragusa, Sylvia Chavarin, and then our two new administrators, Danny Camber and Michelle Devereaux. As we said, many of the staff are working tonight, but we so appreciate those of you that could join us tonight and all the work that you do for the adults in our community. And McNear, thank you for that very appropriate cheering. Well done.
Congratulations and thank you again to all of our adult ed staff. Y'all are amazing for our adults and the littlest learners at Petaluma City Schools. And thank you, McNear. I wish we had you all here every night, but I don't think your parents want to do that for every board meeting. But with that, you all have been very patient. So I would love a school report from the very patient Falcons. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. We are the McNear Falcons, and we are very excited to be here tonight. We have brought part of our leadership team with us. I think there's about 35 kids on leadership, and these guys came, and I am in awe of them. Just how you guys all just acted waiting, amazing. So they have a little presentation for you, and we appreciate your time tonight.
Hi, my name's Penelope.
My name's Ethan.
And my name's Forrest. Good evening, Petaluma City Schools. School board members, our guests. We are excited to share why McNear rocks. Our student leadership represents McNear every event, and we love it. To be a leadership represent McNear at every event, we love it. To be the leadership team, 4th through 6th grade students interview for the position. Over 575 students applied.
We have two groups, one in the fall and one in the spring. We plan school activities, learn how to implement events, make weekly school announcements, and create school spirit with crazy hats, tutu days, mustache days, a dragon parade, Ruby Bridges Day, flannel day, and more.
We have a friendly weekly competition to see how many people we can get to show school spirit. We have fun working together alongside Miss Becker, Miss Nancy, and PTA, and we love having a voice in our school community. We're sure student leadership will help us in junior high and high school. Thank you for listening and have a great night.
McNear has 2 librarians, Miss Donnie and School Pet Go-Go Turtle. Go-Go answers notes to students on her own stationery.
It's very soothing to watch her swim. If you like books, then our library is for you. If you love all things Hogwarts, then our Harry Potter room is the place to be. Our library has almost $20,000 of new books, and students can hang out in there during recess. It is packed. In the spring, we will have a Read Across America Day with milk, cookies, guest readers, and a book exchange. We instill a love of reading by helping everyone have books they love to read each week and a cool place to hang out and read them.
Everyone loves our Makers Lab.
The Makers Lab is open, inspiring, and creative possibilities for all kids.
It is creative, artistic, and full of infinite possibilities.
Makers is focused on authentic learning through play.
We build and explore in our beautifully equipped mask and makers rooms.
We all have a voice, and we don't give up.
When we return from winter with an inventor who has the world's largest toothpick structure on display at the Exploratorium.
Disco Fridays are one way we celebrate our hard work. 6th grade students are DJs and they spin tunes while students play and dance through bubbles. Hot to Go and Bye 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 are two of our favorite songs right now. Students can request songs and party through recess.
That's Disco Friday.
Hi, I'm Hannah, this is Margot, and this is Lucia. We love McNear Performing Arts, Music, Band, and Art. We just finished our school production of James and Giant Peach. I was James. I had 3 parts. I had 6 parts. And our lower grade students will perform Finding Nemo this spring. Our costumes, set designs, and direction are top-notch. We have diversified casts, and we make sure everyone is included.
McNear allows us to be ourselves and take risks with lots of support. It's a great way to learn, meet new friends, and gain confidence.
Hello, my name is Walter. I'm William.
Okay. Our school partners with outside communities groups our school partners with outside community groups to strengthen our environmental science and maker programs.
We just had our Monster Mass dance, a moon of Fong, and many local businesses and families supported us.
Our PTA raised money to hire an environmental literacy specialist who teaches us to be stewards of our school and world. We enjoy working in our natural habitat and watershed to discover the plant life and deer on our campus. Did we mention Bat Night? We have 5 different species of bats at McNair, and we even have bat boxes.
Hi, I'm Linnea.
I'm Ivy.
And I'm Marley.
In our garden, we discover where our food comes from. We mix salads, plant seeds, weed, eat popcorn, and salads we grow. And we learn about beautiful life cycles.
We also explore our wonderful bird habitat and actively interact with our surroundings.
We spend time outside sketching and observing nature. It's my favorite class.
Hello, I'm Lily.
I'm Mina.
I'm Dalton.
McNear makes learning meaningful and fun. We know it is okay to make mistakes in a safe place.
It's a place that nurtures us to grow into our best selves. The best part of our school is that we are kind to everyone. Go Falcons!
Amazing. It looks like we have a video now.
Here comes the sun, say it's all right. Darling, we feel love, darling, we feel like comes the sun, here comes the sun, it's all right.
All right, amazing job. We're going to take a quick recess, but McNear students, I want you to stay up here for a picture. Adult ed folks, go outside for a picture with Bree. And students of the month and students of the semester, stay back for a photo too. Let's All right, she technically has 1 more minute. Trustee Cloud, if you can hear me, come back. Yeah, found her. No, you have a minute. You have a minute. You have a minute. Oh, yeah.
I know. Did I hear my name?
Yeah. Speakers work. All right, I'm going to reconvene this meeting at 6:50. Oh, just turned to 6:52. Nailed it. Y'all actually did it in 10 minutes. Good job. So first, so we're moving on. We're going to talk about the Petaluma Promise on our 8th grade tours.
Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight. My name is Dr. Dan Osterman, College and Career Pathways Coordinator for the district, and I'm joined by Amy Fidegi, our Communications Coordinator, and who is, by the way, an awesome partner in staging and running these incredible tours we're going to share with you this evening. And we're also joined by Mr. Paul Edwards from Sonoma State University, who will have the opportunity to share more specifics about the Petaluma Promise with you a little bit later. So to begin, I believe our promise truly exemplifies our district motto of start here, go anywhere, as well as alongside our fantastic commitment to equity and access. If nothing else, you can clearly see on this picture here the joy on our students' faces. These are a number of our 8th graders, only a small portion actually of our 8th graders with the Lobo, the mascot there, and one of the tour guides right next to them from Sonoma State. So tonight we will provide a full overview of what the Petaluma Promise is, just to refresh your memories, and where we are at with promoting the program, and also look at how our PCS students reacted to the experience of being on a college campus. So it's important to note that before we did these tours, another snapshot of the students here on campus in front of the library, we were pretty excited about doing the tours before we did the tours. And then we did the tours. And the data that we collected and the experience that we had, I think it's safe to say was transformative. So again, we're very excited to be here tonight. But before we get started on the Sonoma State part of the presentation here, I want to turn it over to Amy, who's going to talk to you about where we started the day with each group, which was at the high schools. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we had, if you're following us on social media, we spent 4 epic big days touring over 700 students around both our high schools first, and then we went on to Sonoma State. And I just want to thank, it is a huge undertaking for our high schools. As you can imagine what it's like to show up with 200 more students than are already at CASA and Petaluma High. The transportation details that Lori and team helped us with, the bus drivers, the snacks that Brian Dufour and team provided to everyone on site, not just provided, but were there with the team serving to everyone. It was just a really amazing experience. So many teachers who opened their doors to our students as they came through both Petaluma High and CASA. So we took to CASA 509 students, 332 went to Petaluma High, and then 737 to Sonoma State. So Cherry Valley and Pax 8th graders go to both high schools because our data shows us that they're really deciding where to go. And so we show them both opportunities. So the field trips to our high schools are not new. I just want to make sure everybody knows we've been doing these for about 7 years, but they change and get better with time. And Dr. O and I are both educators who we do not like to do things over and over just for the sake of doing them. We're constantly asking ourselves, is this worth our time? What's the impact? We know this is a big lift. Is it worth it? And so we ask our students, is it worth it? And so the data from Kenilworth, 97% of students recommend that we would offer this next year. This is interesting data. As you all know, here on the board, I'm always really interested in getting as many students to stay in our system as we can. And we do tend to lose 8th graders who are interested in different high schools, smaller opportunities from time to time. So we also surveyed the students on where they were planning on going. And so you can see 86% of our Kenilworth Colts are going to head straight to CASA. And then we have another little group there. You can see where they're going. When we look at Petaluma Junior High School, 98% of them thought we should do this again next year. And then slightly less, about 10% or so, are actually not sure where they're going to go. We have some students here that we're going to reach out to, which is exciting. Like, ooh, who are these people and what's going on and what can we do to share with them what's going on at Petaluma High. So really great data that we got here. And then our PAC students, of course, they also were in favor of this as well. And this is where it's really interesting to see. So this looks very similar for Cherry Valley, but our PAC students, you can see that they are really going all over the place and looking for specific learning opportunities. And so what Dr. O and I have done, again, you see Mary Collins, yay, yay. And then Mary Collins, like, we're still thinking, we don't know. We want to go do a shadow day. We want to go check out some other places. And some of us are going to go to CASA and some are going to go to Petaluma High. So one thing that we'll be doing is we've scheduled some coffee and conversation for these 8th grade families. Here in this room, we have a couple times in December where we're inviting our 8th grade families and students who are still deciding to have the opportunity to talk to some high school students, our high school administrators, and just get some more questions answered that they didn't get on the field trip. So highlights and takeaways. Students loved going inside the learning spaces. They thought it was so fun to see their friends. They really loved learning about the electives. They want more, like, tell me more about athletics and different clubs and student activities. And we're gonna just leave a couple quotes up there for you to look over. Just a reminder to everyone that's listening, tuning in, that might not know, but having the Wildlife Museum at Petaluma High School and having the fish hatchery at Casa Grande are just amazing opportunities for our students. And the kids were like, seeing the garages at both schools were like, oh my gosh. There was one student, she was in Mr. Dunn's ag shop, but she was looking across at Mr. Benson's shop and she's like, I just need to do all these things. I need all of them. And you could just see she was like so excited. So that was really great. So next steps, we're gonna have some student focus groups with particularly our students at PAX and Cherry Valley. Answering questions, we'll be going into classrooms and holding some focus groups to just see what they're thinking and if we can help answer any questions or provide them other opportunities to help them make their decisions. And then as I shared, we have the coffee connection scheduled. Y'all are welcome, December 3rd and 5th. And the parent survey that we send out, which is also an RSVP for the coffee and conversation, gives the parents a chance to ask any questions that they haven't been able to find yet. And with that, I think we get to move on to the Petaluma Promise. So we want to invite our good friend, Mr. Paul Edwards, up to join us. All righty. Come on up. Yes.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having Sonoma State tonight. I'm standing in for the very big shoes of Dr. Ed Mills. If you haven't met Dr. Mills, go out of your way to do it. Amazing higher education leader. I've had the pleasure of working with Ed for about 16 or 17 years. And he is, as I was telling my colleagues, when Ed gets sick, he got a head cold this week. And when he gets sick, he gets his money's worth. And unfortunately, he is very disappointed but that he couldn't be here. So that's him with the sunglasses right there. He's doing a lot of things at Sonoma State. And this is one of his most favorite things that he's done in the first year and a half that he's been here. The partnership is amazing. I've had the pleasure of working in the CSU system for 32 years. Just started at Sonoma State, but I've been doing student partnerships with high schools and community colleges the last couple of years in the CSU. So I was fortunate to get here the first week that Petaluma schools were touring. So it was great to see the enthusiasm and the craziness over passing out our little foamy Lobos and all that kind of stuff. So it was a great opportunity to come in at the right time. I'm not sure. Oh, good, right there. That's what I wanted to talk about. So you all have brochures and some other stuff from Sonoma State. What I wanted to talk about was just the overview of what the promise entails for the students in the Petaluma City School District. First and foremost, guaranteed admissions, where we encourage them on their visits a couple of weeks ago. Get with your high school counselors when you get there, get that A through G going, but we've got guaranteed admissions in place. If there's a student that's struggling through that or has questions, Ed and I want somebody to reach out. If it's not the students, the parents, somebody to reach out. We want to get every single student that wants to be a Seawolf, we want them there. So, but there are some other things. Primary consideration for the presidential scholarships. What that would entail is a student from Petaluma, one of the Petaluma high schools, if they're in the system, they apply. We would put them as a priority for scholarships that would award them $1,000 a semester for the first 2 semesters while they were at Sonoma State. Lots of priority consideration for housing. We have lots of space right now with housing, but should that become an issue, that would be a good problem. But the great news is that the students from Petaluma would be on the priority group. We've got lots of other opportunities. They can come take tours. So we had the 8th graders, but we're looking forward to having juniors and seniors and anybody that wants to come on board and take a tour, shadow an SSU student if they want. We want to get them accessed into housing. There's learning communities that we would set them up with. We have a lot of first-year students that are on campus, and we cluster them in 2 or 3 classes so that they're taking classes together, all in the same major. So these are just a few of the things. The last bullet there, taking classes on SSU campus, that's the thing we're working on right now. We just started. Most people call it dual enrollment. That's something that has not been part of the SSU experience, and we're hoping to start that. So we've worked on the early stages so that students not only can go to their community colleges while they're in high school, but also they could go to SSU and begin taking classes. So you have the brochures. I'm happy to take any questions. Amy and I had a great phone call today, and we started talking about, you know, all the possibilities. The one thing I would like to throw out there is, if you know anything about the CSU system, there's always this quote priority filing period of October 1st through November 30th. That doesn't apply to the mass majority of the CSU system schools. They're going to be open far beyond that. And so one of the things Amy and I talked about today is finding a way to market that to our students, parents, and the community, that just because November 30th, or this year it happens to be December 2nd, because that priority period passes, keep applying. So send the message to any and all that will listen. We want to get as many students to apply as possible within the CSU, and specifically, of course, for us, SSU. But we're probably will be open well into the spring. I'm happy to report we have received 27 applications from your 2 high schools so far. But typically, the biggest application weekend of the year is the one that's coming up, Thanksgiving. Everybody comes home, and instead of enjoying the seniors enjoying their break, they're filling out applications furiously. So that will be some of your lives if you have college or high school seniors, I should say. So please get the word out. We are going to be open. I will put a little shout out. I wish I had his name. I was trying to track him down today, but there's an 8th grader in your system that father is a philosophy professor at Sonoma. And he went out of his way to come by the Welcome Center last week and said, my daughter had a wonderful time and it was great. You guys did an awesome job. And all we did was tour them and then give them some food in the kitchens. But you know what? It doesn't take a lot to impress the 8th graders, I guess. But it was an awesome experience. We get to have some fun with them. So we're really excited about where this partnership might go. Lots of ideas, lots of yield events we would love to do with them in the spring, I should say. So Amy and Dan and I'll be working and continuing with Dr. Mills to figure out how we can strengthen this partnership and get more information out to everybody. So thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Now you say it doesn't take much to impress the 8th graders, but Sonoma State is essentially like a national park. It's so beautiful there, and their new cafeteria called The Kitchens, if you haven't been there, is truly a treat. You can imagine you're 13 years old and it's all you can eat buffet, including soft serve and a slushie machine and hamburgers for days. I mean, there were eyes popping out of skulls in every direction. And of course, Amy and I are walking, chaperoning. Yeah, right. Yeah, we were just really grateful that everybody came home and no problems. So it was a wonderful set of tours. We did it over, like we said, over the course of 4 days. And, you know, we can't thank Sonoma State enough for the partnership. It's, I think, just the very beginning of a long and very fruitful win-win relationship with Sonoma State. So we're super excited. And this whole thing has just brought us closer together. So let's see what the students actually thought. Okay. So we asked them before the field trip, did you imagine yourself at a 4U university like Sonoma State? 74%. Now, when I look at that number, I remember that the study we did with Arenda over 2 years ago, and I believe it was 75% of our students saw themselves attending a college or university, right? So that's right in line with that. Then, now that you've visited, now do you see yourself going to college? 95%. So they got a taste of college. Maybe it was the cafeteria that helped. But I think truly they could see their next step as an option going to Sonoma State, which is so much of why we are here. So that was truly amazing. And then how about Sonoma State specifically? How many of you see yourself going to Sonoma State specifically? 74%, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, and I hope that we see enrollment numbers spike and application numbers spike, and we can get some more swag and all that kind of stuff. So again, just a truly amazing set of adventures that I think will be the beginning of greater things. So additional highlights and takeaways, just some quotes from the students. Excellent spelling on the word scrumptious too, don't you think? Fantastic. Yeah. All right. So next steps for us, absolutely spread the word. We need to keep doing that in every way that we can. We have a video project that we're working on with Dave Fischera, which will be bilingual as well. We're working on a direct admission through californiacolleges.edu, which is part of the College and Career Guidance Initiative throughout the state. So what we're working on is when a student applies from Petaluma City Schools through the Cal Colleges platform, they'll get an automatic acceptance letter in their email, which will be pretty cool. And some other perks and swag and things of that sort. Maybe a meal ticket to the kitchen's cafeteria. We're planning for additional tours this coming winter, and then we're working on a signing day for our first cohort of Petaluma Promise, which we want all of you there, of course, to be part of that picture and event. It'll be super fun. That'll be in the spring. And then continue to strengthen the promise, and we're looking forward to next year. So we're just going to go bigger and better. So we're considering earlier tours in September. I think we tested the tour system at Sonoma State and then some, but we made it. And just more enhancing of the tour experience. We heard a lot from folks that they definitely want to go inside the labs and the classrooms as much as possible. Same as the high school, so they love to see that. And there's some incredible buildings there. Stevenson Hall just was reimagined, which is quite a treat if you haven't seen it. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And thank you, Paul, and thank you, Amy. We'll be back with more news. Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Go for it.
Yeah, could you just walk us through the mechanics of the promise for today's seniors at Petaluma City School? So they have to apply, this is what I heard. I presume they have to be A through G eligible. But just walk us through the mechanics so parents of seniors today understand how this is going to play out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the easiest way, and what I think would be the preferred way, is for the student to apply through what is called the californiacolleges.edu system. And when you apply through that website, the transcript data that students have automatically populates the application. And so you literally launch the Cal State Apply application through californiacolleges.edu. And so all of our students here in this district have, and thank you, Ava's already done it, hopefully. Okay, good. So all of our students in the district, grades 7 through 12, have accounts already in the system. And so if they haven't registered or basically turned the account on, it takes about 30 seconds. And there's great tutorial videos. It's really easy. Yes. And then through there, again, like I said, all the classes that a student has taken in high school will be automatically imported into the application, and you fill the rest of it out and submit from there. As you mentioned, students need to have completed the 15 A through G courses and other pieces for the application.
I think I feel like it was in a call that you had with Dr. Mills, but maybe it was somewhere else. You can correct me, that they're watching for Petaluma City Schools students. And like today, we talked already about some of the numbers, and we're like, okay, if we do find a student who doesn't meet the criteria, who's contacting them? Because, like we heard tonight, they want to work with our students to make sure that everyone can come. So we already are like, okay, we're Zooming as soon as Thanksgiving's done. We're bringing on some more people. We're going to include our lead guidance counselors, our career and college coordinators, Dr. O and myself, our principals, to make sure that we all can help get this message out about it's not too late. And if you get a no, here's what we're going to do to help you make sure we can turn that no into a yes.
We are flagging every student. So any MOU or promise that we're creating, and Petaluma is our first large effort, we're going to monitor those. And Amy and I were talking about that today. If we start to monitor the number of applications and then compared to admits, one of the things we want to do is start finding the mechanism to find out what's going on with somebody maybe who hasn't been admitted. So if it's something as easy as a student didn't check an email that, hey, we need one more piece of information, we want to get that sped up through the process. So the process that Dan was talking about, that's where things are headed. But if a student and parent go through the traditional Cal State Apply and they select Sonoma State, we're going to either way, we're going to track them and monitor those throughout the spring term. Because our goal would be to get as close to, if not 100% of those that apply are admitted. Right now, most of our students from your district, we're admitting at an 80 to 85 to 90% rate anyway. The goal is to get that as close to, if not 100%. So if we have to case manage a few of the situations with students, we will. And then over time, I think the promise efforts that are going on will turn into connections at SSU with the district. And so students and administrators and counselors will have direct contact so that if there's an issue, they can immediately reach out to somebody and we can deal with it, right on the spot. So, does that help?
I would say additionally too that probably as early as tomorrow, we'll be sending out communication to all of our parents in the districts, grades 7 through 12, because parents too can have an account on californiacolleges.edu, which by the way, may need a whole presentation on its own because it's quite a powerful tool. It's free across the state of California. It was developed by the Cradle to Career initiative from the governor's office. And it's been in development for close to a decade now. At any rate, parents can also have an account and log in to track their students, and families track their students' progress towards A through G completion, application completion, in addition to a whole bunch of career exploration and development tools, and as well as FAFSA, the UC application, and the community college application as well. So it's a one-stop shop for all these things.
Clarify, because you said californiacolleges.edu, you said calstateapply.edu.
So californiacolleges.edu is the umbrella, and once a student logs in there, they can apply to any Cal State through Cal State Apply in there. UC
through Cal State Apply.
Yeah, it's embedded in the system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cal State Apply is just the general application for CSU. What Dan's speaking of is sort of a new initiative through CCGI to try to umbrella it so that it's anybody who's been through it with their seniors knows what it's like. And this is an effort to try to make those applications through the UC, CSU, community colleges, financial aid, et cetera, a lot easier for the student and their families.
Cool. Any other questions? Go for it.
I do want to say that California colleges, as someone who has submitted all of their college applications for this year, it was like such a helpful tool to make the application process so much easier and quicker.
Yay.
And I did have a quick question about housing. I was just curious because you were saying that like housing priority would go to like students for the Petaluma Promise. But since those students are also like local, are there any incentives that you guys are using to like have them choose to live on campus?
I don't know, but I will find out. Right now, we have several beds available, but that is a great question, and I will take that back to student affairs and our housing director and find out. They are looking at incentives. I know this doesn't answer your question, but there have been incentives, for example, with trying to get staff and faculty to live on campus, the next step would be, that'd be a great idea to work with our local community who might be more apt to stay at home, but if we can get you on campus and help further build that community. So I will make sure I ask that question tomorrow on campus and get back to you through Dan and Amy. A very good question. Thank you.
I have a question that kind of ties into our presentation later, the resolution for Homeless Youth Awareness Month. I know that there's the EOP office that directly works with homeless and foster students. Can you speak more to the outreach specifically to juniors and seniors who might be unhoused or foster to like further let them know about their opportunities once they go to college?
That is such a great question. I think our homeless and foster, all of our students, we need to be very purposeful in our reach outs. And we would be working with our school counselor teams at both of the comprehensives, our alternative sites, to make sure that, once again, I think we need to frequently and consistently spread this message and do lots of follow-up, because it is quite an environmental cultural change for us to have this kind of opportunity where we're having basically a concierge-esque service for our students to go from here to their next step. So I appreciate the question very much, and I look forward to working with our teams to make sure we're getting the word out to everybody thoroughly, I think is the operative term there. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for presenting on that. And yep. Let's move on to our cell phones in school committee update.
Great. So tonight I'd like to provide a brief update about the cell phone committee and what we've been up to. So this committee convened this year, and the purpose is to review our current practices and board policy surrounding the use of cell phones and mobile communication devices on our campuses. We want to partner with our staff, students, and family representatives. We want to gather more information, as well as have this committee provide feedback and input to our district cabinet administration, as well as the board, in terms of the future of these devices on our campus. So, as you all may well know, the legislature passed an update revision to Ed Code 48901.7, which basically is a directive to all California school districts to limit or prohibit the use of cell phone devices on our school campuses. This particular policy must be updated by July 1, 2026, and it should describe what the district's policy is, whether we're restricting or prohibiting. And so there are particular instances where a cell phone device obviously will still be able to be utilized. That's in moments of obviously emergency, when a licensed physician, for example, a diabetic student who needs to be monitored via a cell phone, as well as if it's indicated as a part of the student's IEP. So there are some protections and considerations for the use of these devices, but it really is up to the individual district in conjunction with educational partner feedback and input to create that policy that works best for the context of our schools. So as I said, this committee, we had about 25 people, which was a mix of secondary, elementary, both parents and staff that were interested in being on this committee. Our first meeting was in September. We have since formed a subcommittee to develop a survey to survey both our parents and caregivers, staff and teachers, as well as students. So getting a sense of, a little bit of a pulse check on where we are with these three groups. And we most recently met on November 4th to look at a draft survey that we'll then put into SurveyMonkey and distribute out. So our next steps right now are to administer this cell phone survey. We have Youth Truth, which is all of January, so we don't want to
kind of mix two surveys at the same time. So we'll take this survey after the Youth Truth goes out in January. And then we'll want to review that data. We'll want more input and feedback from committees, from our administrators who are really already setting forth rules and regulations around cell phone use, but really getting their sense of what do they see in our future in terms of being able to restrict or prohibit, and what do they need. When it comes to restricting and prohibiting, there is no addition to 48900 education code around discipline that would require us to enact any kind of disciplinary consequences. There's no additional ed code that says if you bring a cell phone, you get suspended. That is not a part of this. And so it really is the onus on our school sites, our administrative teams to develop what would be the response if a student was not to follow the policy. We hope to have that input and feedback to our superintendent and cabinet by the spring of 2025, and hope to have our updated policy and recommendation to the board with a timeline for implementation. We can imagine that there'll be a need to be a lot of communication and a lot of plans in place to support this. But we're hopeful that with really working with our educational partners and understanding our district and our needs and our context, we can bring forth a policy recommendation that is very informed by all of these different educational partners and our current context and situation. Any questions?
How is the makeup of the committee? How are they leaning towards a ban or versus limitations? I mean, I know it'll be informed by the larger community, but I would imagine there's some selection bias in who chooses to be on a committee about limiting cell phone usage.
Yeah, so that is that's we've done some work on the survey in particular because we don't want to send out a survey that is biased in one direction. It really is to obtain information. And so what I have advised the committee and explained to them is that this isn't we aren't voting as a committee, but really it's to see what are the trends, what are we seeing, what are we hearing from the respective, different educational partner groups, really hearing from our administrators to then say what is actually feasible and possible. There's another piece around completely prohibiting, which is there's a budgetary piece to that. We have many surrounding districts that are purchasing the Yonder bags or the Velcro bags that limit Wi-Fi access. And so that all comes at a cost. And so that's a piece that we have to consider if we were to prohibit, how could we actually prohibit? Right? We already have practices in place across elementary and junior highs where they're not allowed to bring the cell phone out or mobile device during school hours at all. We know our high schools are a little bit different in that we've got some procedures already in place where students check that device in, but they are able to access it break and lunch. And so more than anything, we want to make sure that whatever policy that we recommend and bring forward, it's one that we can actually do, and that all of our educators feel supported and backed by that policy, and that we have a game plan to make it happen. And so the leanings are, we've got folks that have a feeling and an opinion. There's a lot of research that's coming out. I don't know if you're familiar with the book, The Anxious Generation. So there's a lot of movement around the usage of social media and the impact, as we all know. And so there are some strong feelings, but I'm really trying to convey that we need to look at our district and what is possible, what we believe is good for our students, and what we know that we can support and enforce, and we have the means and mechanisms to be able to do that.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you for that. We look forward to seeing the survey results. And now we'll move on to comments from the public on special recognition reports, presentations, and non-agendized items. So I'm going to read the fun government code bit, and then we will start with public comments. Under Government Code, Section 54954, members of the public have the right to address the governing board on any items of interest, providing it relates to subject matter jurisdiction of the school district. While Government Code allows speakers to criticize the district's policies, procedures, programs, services, and/or employees, the district does have a policy specific to complaints against employees. Should comments from the public pertain to a specific district employee, the board requests that the complaint first be submitted in writing to the employee's immediate supervisor for investigation. If the comment is about something not on the agenda, it will be heard only during public comment on non-agendized items, period. Once that part of the meeting is over, comments will only be taken on agenda items during discussion of those items. The board values public comments, and although we cannot take action or discuss items not on the agenda, we listen carefully and appreciate input from the public. Public comments are subject to a 3-minute per person limit or a 20-minute limit per subject matter. Commenters may not cede their time to others. And can we get the timer up on the screen? Yeah, thank you. And so we'll start with Molly.
Hi, thank you all. My name is Molly Lunabus. I teach art at Casa Grande High School. Last month, I brought a mistake to the attention of the Board of Education that secondary visual and performing arts programs, VAPA, had been mistakenly removed from the protective funding of the perpetual parcel tax, Measure C, from 2006. This decision broke with over 20 years of precedent for VAPA funding in the district. And this also ignored the intention of the voters of Petaluma who had enshrined their support for the arts into this parcel tax measure. We were blindsided by the sudden disappearance of our allocated funds since nobody had notified us of this change. We had simply been confronted with zero budgets in August and no explanation. The impact of this mistake led to project delays, insufficient materials, curriculum downgrades, and ultimately many frustrated and disappointed students. Our programs were in jeopardy. This change to the parcel tax funding was unethical. This change was also illegal. I am pleased to inform the board that PCS has acknowledged this consequential mistake and has made a commitment to fix the problem. PCS will be returning the arts back into the protective parcel tax Measure C funding, and will also be restructuring the current parcel tax allocations to prioritize materials funding over funding for salaries, so that our students have the tools they need to access the arts, library, and tech, as the voters had intended. PCS will also be returning all of the parcel tax rollover money that was taken away from our programs, and will be ensuring that this is protected in the future. This path forward will restore the security of our programs with fidelity to the original intent of the parcel tax. And by doing so, it will also restore the fidelity to the voices of the Petaluma voters who believe in the importance of these programs for the youth of Petaluma. We are encouraged by this progress, and we will be meeting this week in an important first step towards resolution. We greatly appreciate the board's partnership in solving this problem that has affected so many of our students in the district. We will all stay active and vigilant until this funding is completely restored and we have a clear resolution in writing. Thank you again to the board for your support, and thank you to the people of Petaluma who trust us with your tax dollars to provide meaningful educational experiences for our children as reflected in your vote. Together, we are building a brighter future. We will keep you posted on the progress of this resolution at each board meeting. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Krista.
Hello. I am Krista O'Connor, teacher at Petaluma High, grandparent of 2 Valley Vista students, and the Petaluma Federation Teachers Union High School vice president. I sent each of you a letter this past Friday outlining some of my concerns about this seemingly imminent move of the Live Oak Waldorf program to the Valley Vista campus. I hope you have the time to read my letter and consider those concerns. First and foremost, as a parent and grandparent, I have to convey to you the ongoing emotional stress that this has placed on my own family as we consider where my 2 grandsons will best be served next year in grades 5 and kindergarten. These questions are not easily answered, but we do know that the breaking up of our 4th graders class and the shrinking transitional kindergarten class of 10 students is causing concern and sadness for us all. Several students have already left and are still leaving mid-year. We would prefer to have them finish the year at Valley Vista regardless of what next year brings, but circumstances are lining up that make that seem both risky and challenging. Secondly, and equally important are my concerns as an employee of this district. As the PFT High School Vice President, I sit on many of our planning and accountability committees. In the few extracts of the Live Oak Charter that were shared at the Valley Vista meeting on October 28th, I see some big questions about how to fund and sustain the program with its needs and expectations at a time when we can already see the upcoming budget constraints we are experiencing as a district. Lastly, through my lens as the English learner resource teacher at Petaluma High and a longstanding member of our district multilingual learner committee, I have ongoing concerns about equity, diversity, and inclusion that reach beyond Valley Vista to encompass the entire district. It has been my hope that we could move forward carefully, taking all needs into account, but I have to say that I feel so much damage has already been done to the Valley Vista community that it will truly cease to exist after this, its 70th year as a school in our district, and I find that to be heartbreaking and unacceptable. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Krista. And next up, we have Shireen.
My name is Shireen Jackson, and I'm speaking as the parent of a fourth grader who had planned to stay at Valley Vista through sixth grade promotion. But since Valley Vista is on its way to becoming a Waldorf charter with Live Oak, and in our family's eyes will no longer be the same school, we will be transferring our child to another school for fifth and sixth grades. We stayed at Valley Vista this year in part so that our eldest child could promote from this school, and in part with the hope that Valley Vista would remain a traditional school after this year, even as many families left when they saw the writing on the wall. After the letter of intent was discussed at the September 24th board meeting, after parent engagement nights, one with Valley Vista families and one with families at both schools, and after other events where part of the goal was to begin to merge the two school communities, we are seeing more families leave our school mid-year. Part of this is due to how these have unfolded, but much of it is because families are worried that if they wait, they will not be able to attend their second choice school. I'm extremely frustrated that families who are leaving Valley Vista have not been able to enroll for next year yet. Having the ability to enroll for next year before the January enrollment opens would alleviate some of the stress that these families are feeling. Today, Ms. Fadegi emailed me Board Policy 5166.1, which states in part that intra-district transfer applications submitted between the first Monday in December and the last Friday in February will be considered, and the parent/guardian will be notified of the district's decision. Priority for attendance outside a student's attendance area shall be given as follows. Number one, if a district receiving Title I funds is identified for corrective action or restructuring in the school year immediately preceding the requested year of attendance, all students enrolled in that school shall be provided an option to transfer to another district school or charter school. Even if this policy didn't exist, I would hope that the school board and district would do right by the families who are leaving Valley Vista to open priority and registration for them before it opens for everyone else. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Shireen. And then Anna Maria.
Hello, good evening. I'm Ana Maria Martinez. I work with Home First, nonprofit that focuses in ending homelessness. And I'm the special population for Petaluma homeless families. I want to expose here the situation of the lack of education about the McKinley-Vento law among parents and families that are my clients. They don't know they have the right to get supplies or transportation, or they're even homeless, considered homeless when they're double up, like three families living in a 2 bedrooms apartment in Petaluma. And when you ask them, they say, no, we're not homeless. Do you know about the McKinley-Vento law And no, they don't know. They don't know the rights. The students don't know the rights, and they don't want to come out as being homeless because there's a lot of stigma about family separation. And they don't know also they may be eligible for some help. I come here to speak on behalf of these families and the work that I do in Petaluma. It will be amazing if we can know who is McKinley-Vento homeless just through adding a question in the area's registration for the next year that says, if you do you share a house with other families? Yes or no? And if yes, you may be eligible for some help. My job will be like to create a reference system and a mapping system for resources for families in Petaluma. And with the Office of Education to help these families to apply for affordable housing and to get resources and help. The other part that is also concerning is about equity, and it's about the fees that these families are asked to pay for outings, for proms. A prom ticket is like $140. So some people won't be attending, especially these populations that are facing financial circumstances, and they won't even come and bring it to the parents because they will say they don't want to go. As well as going to outing is $5. That makes a lot of difference for like someone who has 3 children, but maybe not to the school budget. So I propose that question to be added in areas so we can work in tandem, helping these families. Maybe the elimination of these kind of fees for recreation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Yeah. All right, and then Heather, I think she left. Oh, she's coming. Okay, cool.
Wow, that was really fast. Turn my ringer off real quick. Good evening. My name is Heather Gallagher. I'm here today because T-Mobile recently filed an application to permit their tower that has been operating illegally for over 17 years. I'm concerned this is going to be pushed through, so I came here tonight to make a statement that will persuade the Petaluma City School Board to take responsibility and do the right thing. I'm on vacation right now, but I feel this matter is so critical that I came back to Petaluma to be here tonight to speak. I know the tower is hazardous. I know the tower has been operating illegally. I want this school board to do what it has promised us for months now. Start the lawsuit or force T-Mobile to remove the cell tower as soon as possible. Tell the city planning department immediately that T-Mobile does not have permission to keep its cell tower at the Casa Grande High School site, and demand that the city enforce its code and force T-Mobile to remove its illegal cell tower from the site, because the illegal cell tower is a public nuisance under the city code. I have been in contact with you for many months regarding the Casa cell tower, and my attorney has written both to the Petaluma City School Board and Superintendent, as well as the school district's attorneys. The school district terminated its lease agreement with T-Mobile April of this year after learning that T-Mobile had never obtained the government permits to construct and operate the cell tower at Casa Grande High School. As required under the lease agreement between the school district and T-Mobile, and the school district demand that T-Mobile remove its illegal tower from the Casa Grande site.
T-Mobile has refused to do so, and several months ago, the school board promised the community that it would file a lawsuit against T-Mobile to compel T-Mobile to remove the illegal cell tower. That lawsuit was supposed to be filed by now. The school district has not filed it. Moreover, instead of removing its, T-Mobile has applied for a permit with the city of Petaluma in effort to legalize its existing cell tower. In its permit application, T-Mobile has misrepresented to the city that the school district has agreed to allow the cell tower at its existing site on Casa Grande High School property. T-Mobile has attached the very lease agreement and extension, which the school district terminated in April.
Thank you, Heather. And then if anyone else has any public comment cards they want to submit, if you can bring them up to Bree. And next we have Lonnie.
Hi, I'm Lonnie Ward. I had children that used to attend Valley Vista that no longer do, but I'm speaking on behalf of Siobhan Haslam today. These are her words. I have been an active parent at Valley Vista for almost 11 years. I have seen many different iterations of our beautiful little schoolhouse. 6 of my 8 children have attended Valley Vista. For many years, it has been one of the best schools in Petaluma. It had art, music, and a thriving community of parents and teachers we were proud to call Valley Vista their school. I tried to keep an open mind when the news of the possible merger of our school with the Waldorf was announced. We were assured that nothing would change in the 2024-2025 school year by Mr. Harris. He was not truthful. So much has changed that the children at our school are feeling the stress. Along with that, we have had a lot of behavioral issues in the classroom. In many cases, children are expressing their emotions through those unwanted behaviors. I know of 8 families who have pulled their children out of Valley Vista, but those numbers will increase as the months go on. Many Valley Vista parents have had to make the heartbreaking choice to pull their children out of school in order to place them into other neighborhood schools this year. They cannot trust that the district will be able to have a spot saved for their children in the 2025-2026 school year. There is so much anxiety and upset about a merger. Not every parent would choose Waldorf education for their child. The fact that parents are willing to jump to the unknown to give their child a chance at a much more traditional, stable, and reliable education should speak louder than words. Valley Vista is not a stable school right now. The community is fractured. The teachers are distressed about what the future holds. I come here tonight to speak for those who cannot be here and for those that feel powerless to stand against this unwanted conversion. I would ask that you put the families and children of our small school first. First, to be able to choose a place where their children can learn in an environment that aligns with their values. The Waldorf model does not align with many of the families at our school. I personally did not choose a Waldorf school. I chose a sweet little school that would give my children a traditional balanced education. I think that since the district is willing to save spots at the new iteration of the combined schools for families willing to stay, then the same offering of a guaranteed spot at a school of the parents' choice needs to be offered to the families that want to leave, allowing those families to continue at a school that more closely fits with their child's educational needs. I ask you to change the offer of a school in the Petaluma City School District so that families of Valley Vista will get priority registration for the 2025-2026 school year or a guaranteed spot at the school of their choosing. We have lost so many children since the announcement was made, and families really put their trust in the system that Matthew Harris, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let's move on to adoption and approval of the agenda. Sorry, I got lost on the paper. What? Yes, at some point, but yeah. We're gonna do the report on activities and all that good stuff first.
I move to adopt and approve the agenda.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the agenda is adopted and approved. I'm going to report on the activities and correspondence of school board members, but of course my computer fell asleep. So one moment while I pull it up. It's been a month since our last meeting, so it's been busy. And all right, since our last October meeting, trustees attended tennis matches at CASA, the CASA basketball game, the Budget Advisory Committee meeting, the Cal State University Graduation Symposium, the California Association of Student Councils, Student Advocacy Conference, a meeting with the City of Petaluma's Climate Action Manager, the Egg Bowl, the Little Women Play at CASA, a Blue Zones meeting, the LCAP Committee, meetings with the Superintendent, the Visual and Performing Arts Committee, the Professional Development Subcommittee, the all-staff day-long professional development day where she also taught or led one of the sessions, a meeting with the Grant Girl Scout troop about women in leadership positions. And then we also held office hours at Pengrove, Valley Vista, McDowell, McNear, McKinley Pax, Mary Collins, Cherry Valley, Grant, Carpe Diem, Kenilworth, Petaluma Junior High, CASA, Petaluma High, and then today at San Antonio and Valley Oaks. And that was just the adults. Student board members attended a Haunted Hallways fundraiser, freshman movie night, a PTSA meeting, and the Egg Bowl Spirit Weekend game. Gaucho football had an exciting win at the Egg Bowl and had an eventful game against Windsor on Saturday. Club leaders on campus are preparing for their favorite time of year as we celebrate the holiday season with our annual holiday fair, which is a chance for clubs to raise money for their programs. This is not exactly an activity, but both of the bonds passed since our last meeting. So we can keep having buildings. That's good news. Thank you, Petaluma voters and property owners and taxpayers. Any comments or anything you all want to add on any of your very, very many activities? Cool. With that, we're going to take a 7-minute break. Please come back at 7:55. All right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd say yes. Okay.
I'm reconvening the meeting at 7:55 with or without you people. All right. Comments from the public on consent agenda items. All the public comment cards I had were up for items not on the agenda. So dear public, if you would like to bring up a card for anything on the consent agenda, please do so now. My glasses are fogging up. This is great. Everything's going great. Seeing, I don't know, masks just work sometimes and sometimes they don't. And that's what we deal with, I guess. All right. Seeing no public comments and no public charging the stand, I'm going to move on to approval of the consent agenda by consolidated motion. Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
All right, any questions or comments on anything on the consent agenda?
I'm concerned about the price of some of these field trips.
Okay, speak more, please. What do you?
Let me pull them up.
Yeah.
Like it's one of them's $850, and it says that they're gonna cover two of more. Yeah. And then another one's 225. It says PTA and donations. I see that the Wildlife Museum there, it looks like with the narrative that he submitted that they're gonna cover for any student that can't cover the cost. And then just hearing what Anna Maria Martinez was saying about families like opting out of field trips because they can't afford the $5. It's just a concern about these increasing costs. Like if families can't afford $5, how do we expect them to afford 225? That was all. And I don't know who brings these forward, but it's just a concern. I don't know who wants to speak to it.
I mean, I can, because these come from education services and school sites submit the field trips and we send them to the board for approval. Many of them are stuff that they do every year or like, and they all come from the same funding source, either donations or PTA or something like that. I think it could be something we continue to explore of how we can support these things, what it might look like. Maybe look look into findings, a way to fund things that they go to every year that they maybe, is a part of the, and connected to a part of the educational, experience, so that we can find appropriate funding to support those things. And then maybe things that are off of that could be part of donations, but I can lead that exploration and see what solutions we could come up with to support a lot of things that may exclude some students or put them in a situation where they feel a little embarrassed to come forward about it.
Can we update the form to make it kind of clearer of like how much it costs versus how much families are being asked to put in? Because I mean, if families are all being asked to only put in $50, that's still a barrier for a lot of families. I'm not saying that, but at least I would feel better about like a family might be more likely to at least tell the teacher, hey, I can't do that, and reminding teachers and staff and principals to really do that education of it really is a suggested donation. Like we do need the money to make it happen, but if you can't cover it for whatever reason, or you don't want to cover it for whatever reason, like your kid can still go to Monterey or go to LA or whatever. So just continuing the outreach from admin and teachers, and if the ASBs can help with that, of making it clear, like it really is suggested. But I worry that we too often are asking for the highest price point, trying to get those few families that can do $850. I think you added up how much you spent just on kids stuff last year, and it was a lot of
$4,000
$4,000 for
is what I paid out of pocket for my
right
kids.
for the free and public education.
Yeah.
In fact, when we did office hours at McKinley, there was a complaint about fourth grade camp because it was very expensive. And, some schools, their PTAs can help cover it. Other schools, they can't, so it becomes an equity issue.
So what is the process? Like, let's say the school Grant brought forth this field trip, and they're going for 225. And then let's say McNear, just because it's the next closest school, wanted to go on this as well, but they did not have the 225 per student from their PTA. Has that ever been brought to our district? And then if so, how's it been handled, or how would it be handled if they're like, well, we want that same type of field trip, but we can't afford it?
I don't recall any of the school sites coming to the district with requests for support that they couldn't find enough funding. And I think different sites may have different processes, but maybe that's something we can bring up to the principals and discuss, like, what is the process? And, do they understand, do they have a understanding of when a student can't afford it? How are they reaching out to those students? What do they think they can come to the district at all for any kind of support? And maybe we can create some kind of standard process. But I think the other thing is really, looking at, if these field trips are an essential part of their educational experience, a part of experiential learning that connects them to school, like, how we can justify that as an educational right for students, and find ways to support it, whether that's through the LCAP process or some other grants that we have that could support those things. As I think, maybe preventing school sites from having to figure out, how to support students who can't fund those things. If we can just do that as a district, I think that might be a good place to start. Especially our foster youth and homeless students, especially our students who often are migrant ed students, English learners, or don't know how to navigate in the educational system, don't know where to even begin to start to even ask. I think if we could just eliminate some of those barriers for them, I think that would be worthwhile.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Oh, I'm gonna regret this. So there's the tremendous inequity in the fundraising at the various sites that we've discussed before. And so if those funds are being used for to cover these field trips, then there's just as Ellen said, an inequity in each, site. And so some sites raise $150,000 a year, other ones 5. So You know, I just think at some point down the line, there needs to be, we need to examine with the PTAs, just talk to them about how to make this an equitable system. And then maybe we can implement something that will, because these experiences are hugely educational and important. And to say that it's $800 for a field trip, it's a lot of money. I mean, it would be a lot for me as a grandparent, you know, and so, and it's not the choice of the programs. It's just like, how can we make this easier on everybody? Anyway, I know that that's just something that's been brought up a few times, and it existed when my kids were little, so it's not a new thing.
And I know that the Wildlife Museum is like semi outside of our school, but also like Amy and Dan noted earlier, it is a huge draw for our students as well, that and the hatchery. So I would love to see a world in which we could contribute towards that, especially for these types of experiences for the students, because asking them to pay $850 is a lot of money. And then further, if you are also in the Wildlife Museum and on the cheerleading team, you're being asked to pay another $875. And I'm not really sure what's going on with this field trip request. It feels like not 100% complete. It's like a cheerleading one. Airbnb, not yet booked. I can understand that. District vans, unsure request for vans was approved via easy activity trip. So I assume that means they are aware. So how are they getting there? Are they driving the van? Are they driving the car? What are they doing? Because I can't tell who's driving them. And if it would be cheaper if they weren't taking the van. But I don't understand what's happening.
So would it help, maybe we can revise these things to give more clarity around what is actually being approved and who's responsible and what the responsibilities look
I just
like?
want to know for this one, what's happening.
This
one.
This one, the champion field trip for the
It's just saying
cheerleading?
unsure.
Yeah.
So were the vans approved or not? Who's driving the van?
Yeah.
I mean, I think this form predates easy activity, so I think that the person filling out the form is like, yeah, if I submitted the form, I assume that the director of transportation has been notified. That's how I read it. Like, she hasn't gone and told the director of transportation, but the form theoretically goes to the director of transportation. Yeah, I definitely think we need to update these forms to look at the systems that we have in place. But does, yeah, well, can you make sure that the cheerleaders have a way to get to LA?
Who is driving them?
Well, yeah.
So that kind of goes along. I did have a question about the, I don't want to pick on Grant, but on the Grant one, only because it says private car. And so our transportation policy that is up for a vote tonight specifically says no private cars unless it's approved by the superintendent for those various reasons. It's just overnight, but it's certainly multi-day. So I guess that's but I think that those things should maybe.
Olema is 21.6 miles away, so it is fine. Because it's
Alina,
22.
it's 21. Okay, so they can do it.
If 22 is our arbitrary cutoff, they're fine.
But then it also says it has not been approved by the director of transportation, or they haven't been notified.
But yeah, like if you're doing private car, why would you tell the
They
director of
don't have to
transportation?
because it's within the 22 miles.
Right, right, yeah. So I think
Why
the
is it on
form
there?
needs a lot more clarity.
Yeah, I was just thinking this.
But it seems like that the Olema field trip is compliant with our policy.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Because I
I
did
just
not
Google
know
mapped it,
that
y'all.
it was 22
What did it
miles,
be?
goodness.
21.6 on the roads and probably less as the crow flies. But that's another
Our policy is the roads.
Yeah, our policy is the roads, not as the crow flies. Yeah. But yeah, I think making sure that that cheer trip is safe and that Director of Transportation knows, especially if we are using our vans.
Well, and I think also
yeah.
if it is a private car, then maybe it just say yes or no, because yeah, they haven't notified the Director of Transportation, but maybe a question in there has whoever made sure that
Right, has the
forms have
principal
actually been
cleared
filled in, 'cause it
the-
took me
yeah.
5 days to get a form.
Yeah.
Like the clearance form to drive. So I just would, and I think that's why we did this policy in the first place,
Yeah.
because people were not filling out forms.
Right.
So I guess I would just want to know that at least they have filled out the
Yeah,
to
and
drive.
I think it's on us to provide a clearer form that gets
Yeah.
the information that we need.
'Cause this one's from 2015, so I guess.
Yeah,
it's
last
time to
updated
update it.
2016, 2015.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Any other comments or questions on consent agenda items? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? All right, the consent agenda passes. Moving on, are there any comments from the public on action items? So anything under 14? I will note there are 3 things on the action items or 4 things missing attachments, even though we tried to attach the attachments many times. So Jason has graciously printed out those attachments. So we will have enough to review here. And if anyone in the audience wants a copy to review, they are welcome to come get a copy. And so that is 14.1.1, 16.1.1, 16.1.2, and 16.1.3. But I think the only one anyone would actually want to see is the calendars, which is 14.1.1, not necessarily the sexual harassment policy, as fun as it is. And especially because it's the first reading anyway. So with that, we will move on to action items, starting with approval of the student attendance calendars. And so I'll let Jason pass those out and then we will discuss.
Two drafts, one for each of the 7 board members. You want to take one each? Going around.
Thank you.
You finally get to keep one across that. All right, so everyone should have a draft A and a draft 1. So draft A is our traditional calendar and draft 1 is our year-round calendar. I apologize that we had trouble attaching these, but they are here. What? So as you saw in the situation, our calendar committee meets regularly. We have moved to a process where instead of planning 2 years at a time and then waiting 2 years, that we meet every year and we plan the next year out so that we're bringing to you in the fall next year's calendar, so that we're trying to stay just a bit ahead, and we're also able to make some changes. This calendar is the work of the committee, which is represented by PFT, by CSEA, by administration, and by this year we had the representative, one of the superintendents from Old Adobe joined us for this. And this calendar is very similar in design and structure to the calendar that we're using this year. We went with a very similar format to what we did this year. The one outstanding difference is that this year we started having a professional development day or a day off in October. And this year we moved it to November 1st because we don't want school the day after Halloween. This next year, we moved it back into October because November 1st is a Saturday or Sunday. A Saturday. One other thing that you'll notice is that last year we took that October day out of school a week before on an Indigenous Peoples' Day. This year it's showing up on the 20th because the year-round schools also need to be part of PD and they're on break during that. So we had to move it into a day when both schools were in session. So you can see that's one of the changes as well. But I'll give you a minute to look at this over. It's very much similar to what we've approved and had this year and in past years, but if you have any questions, I can answer them. You may have also noticed that we recently, as a committee, sent out a calendar survey to parents and staff to get feedback for not this calendar, but for our 26, 27 calendar. Because we're always asking things about like, do you like two separate weeks, like a midwinter and a spring break, or would you rather have two, those kind of questions. Do you want a long Thanksgiving break, but get out a little later? So we poll those, every couple of years we do a poll, so we felt this was a good year to do that again. So we're gathering that data now.
Any questions or comments coming up for any of the board members? All right, do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the calendars.
A second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we have two calendars for 25, 26. How are we already thinking about that? Moving on to resolution 2425-15, recognizing the month of November as National Homeless Youth Awareness Month. I went out of order again. Can someone make a motion?
I move to approve resolution 2425-50.
All right, so now that the resolution is on the table, would anyone like to volunteer to read it into the record? I can read it. It is, okay, let me just, even though I have my glasses on, I'm gonna zoom in. Okay. Whereas November is National Homeless Youth Awareness Month. Every year, hundreds of thousands of American families become homeless, including more than 1.3 million children. And whereas, as defined by the McKinney-Vento Homelessness Assistance Act, homeless children and youth are individuals who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence, including those sharing the housing of other persons due to the loss of housing, economic hardship, or a similar reason, are living in motels, hotels, mobile home parks, or camping grounds due to lack of alternative adequate accommodations, are living in emergency or transitional shelters, are abandoned in hospitals, and whereas the McKinney-Vento Homelessness Assistance Act further defines homeless children and youth as those who have a primary nighttime residence that is a public or private place not designed or ordinarily used as a regular sleeping accommodation for human beings, children and youths who are living in cars, parks, public spaces, abandoned buildings, substandard housing, bus or train stations, or similar settings. And whereas the homeless youth population also includes unaccompanied youth who have left home for one or more nights. See, I'm gonna cry again, you guys. Without permission, youth who have been kicked out of their homes are abandoned. Yeah, yeah. I can't read anything without crying lately.
Okay. Are abandoned, deserted, or prevented from returning home, and systems youth who have either aged out of foster care or have been released from juvenile justice or other public systems with nowhere to go. And whereas, although largely considered an undercount, nationwide estimates from 2022 suggest that there are at least 30,090 unaccompanied children and transition age youth on the streets and in public shelters, a decrease of 12% over 2020. Young people experiencing homelessness have a harder time accessing services, including shelter, medical care, and employment. Some reasons include the stigma of their housing situation, lack of knowledge of available resources, and a dearth of services targeted to young people. And whereas in the 2024 point in time homeless census and survey, Sonoma County reported 2,522 homeless individuals. Within that count were 57 families with children, with a total of 198 family members experiencing homelessness in Sonoma County, representing nearly 8% of the total persons experiencing homelessness. 147 individuals were unaccompanied youth under the age of 25, and 78% were unsheltered. And whereas schools within Sonoma County reported having 1,024 McKinney-Vento students as of December 2023, and whereas students of color are overrepresented in the Sonoma County student homeless population, Black, African American, American Indian or Alaska Native, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, Filipino, and mixed race make up 80% of the students, 20% identify as white. The largest subgroup of students experiencing homelessness by race and ethnicity is Hispanic Latino at 68%. And whereas due to the varying definitions of homelessness and the difficulty in capturing accurate data, the county statistics do not necessarily reflect the numbers captured in the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. And whereas Petaluma City Schools is committed to improving student equity and access to high quality education, to providing quality support to districts, schools, students, and communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Petaluma City Elementary and Petaluma Joint Union High School District's Board of Education does hereby recognize the month of November as Homeless Youth Awareness Month.
Thank you for finishing that. Does anyone have any comments or questions about this resolution?
I do.
Yes.
Of course.
I thought you might.
I just think that the work that, again, Anna Maria is doing is so important for the city of Petaluma. And she chose to focus on homeless families. Like, that was her choice. And I know Esmeralda has worked with her and met with her as well. And just, she has a lot of good information to share. And then, I mean, just the disparity of 80% of them were flipped and they were not BIPOC. I'm sure that there will be a lot more resources targeted towards them. And also we're in, I don't know if we're still in differentiated assistance for homeless students, but it's just something for us to consider as we continue making our decisions. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, I call the question. All in favor of this resolution? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the resolution passes. Moving on to business services, we have the second reading of Board Policy 3551 and Administrative Resolution 3551 about food service operations and the cafeteria fund. Can you tell us about this, Amanda?
Yes, this board policy and resolution was brought for discussion last month that included changes to the law for the universal meal requirements, and our district operates our food service program in a separate fund, Fund 13, which is outside of the general fund. There have been no changes since discussion last month.
Can I hear a motion?
Move to approve BP 3551 and AR 3551.
Any questions or comments on these policies? All right, hearing none, I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Hearing none, those pass. Moving on to Board Policy 3541.1 about transportation for school-related trips and some updates there. Amanda, can you talk to us about those updates?
Yes, so tonight we bring forward policy 3541.1. This is the policy that was already adopted by the board to clarify the language in the first one. So the first paragraph has now been stricken from transportation by private vehicles. And the first sentence starts with private vehicles may only be used for field trips or events within 22 miles of the school. And then it goes down to say the superintendent or designee, may authorize. So there was some confusion on where it was before. This is not to be confused with the AR that is coming up in a little bit for discussion, which further gives me more clarification around the home to school transfer, or nope. Not home to school.
Not home to school, everything but home to school.
Everything else.
All right, do I hear a motion?
I move to approve board policy 3541.1.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, any questions or comments?
Yeah, Amanda, so I'm unclear. So are we giving, especially the secondary schools, a chunk of money for sports teams? And then it's up to admin and the athletic directors to understand that? And I'm just confused a little bit.
Yeah, great question. After and I was going to bring this up further down the road, but now's a perfect time. After our last board meeting, we met with the comprehensive high school site administrators and the athletic directors to see how we can best support the bringing out this transportation, and along with that looked at historically what athletics specifically had charged, paid for in the past versus all of those things. And what we determined is we would move forward as originally budgeted with there was clear communication through the athletic directors to the coaches that we will help support them. So right now there were funds that were added to all of the sites. The elementaries were also given a per classroom, $1,000 per classroom to help with transportation too. But specifically the secondary, that there are specific athletic funds, there are site discretionary, there are grants and donations around athletics. And if you need help and different things come up, like let's have the conversation. And a great, this kind of happened this evening. I don't know why Gio is hiding his head. No, but our Petaluma High School football team made it to second round playoff the first time in 10 years. Super exciting. It's in what Eureka. Yeah. Which yeah. Yeah, 4 hour drive away. So we've been we have buses chartered looking at not only what works best for the team, that is a long trip, so they've been working on that and looking at different costs associated to that. But that is something that hasn't happened in previous years. So not necessarily the school site didn't really have a budget for that. So, we met about different teams have different fundraising and things that they've done. And then we talked about, let's figure out what the cost is going to be. And then we'll work together to make sure that it is not really taken away from other things in order to support getting them to the playoff games.
So this is kind of the same question that Joanna brought up about the field trips. Are families being asked to pay for transportation for sporting events?
So they are. So, well, Gio, it can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that, sorry, Gio.
He's hiding again.
Thank you for coming to the meeting tonight. I appreciate it. Is that we ask for a general athletic donation per sport, which is $150 or $160, $150 that can include transportation, uniforms, referees, all of the different things. Actually, this is something that I planned on bringing forward in December because through these conversations with the athletic directors and site administrators, we're noticing, not specifically at Petaluma High, but at CASA, that some teams are requesting the $150 and they're holding it either in boosters or they're holding it. And some teams are it's going into the athletic funding for the school. It's coming to the district. And really, I think it's important to determine if this is if it is on behalf of the district, a donation, that those funds should really come and be held in district accounts, not in other accounts. So that,
But we're still
That-
asking the kids to pay to
For,
play. What about, I mean, we just
Yeah.
had this discussion about homeless youth and.
Yeah.
And
So I was already going to bring that up at the next board meeting because it's continues to come up in all kinds of different conversations that we're having about so many different things and what is pay to play, what is the expectation, if it is it a true donation, are families feeling like it's not a donation, that it's mandatory, but really about getting guidelines about when we're asking where should those funds go. So to answer your question about our parents being asked to pay for transportation, yes, because it's all encompassed in that 150 per dollar sport. For the field trips, oh, sorry.
we're still asking families to contribute $150 when we just talked about some families can't even afford 5. And and then they've got to buy cleats and all that other stuff. And so how can,
Yes, and we also don't have all the money either, so it's.
well, no,
yeah,
I
we can't-
understand that,
yeah.
but we're looking at equity and some kids are just, oh, sorry, you can't play football because your family doesn't have $150.
And it really
hope
is,
that's
I will
not
say,
happening.
it's like it is a suggested donation. I feel like the athletic form at least, like filling it out, you do like your clearance and it really is clear, like this is a suggested donation. I think where the issue comes in is in like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's like with the further asking of donations and like not making the fundraising truly optional.
Yeah.
Sheldon sent us a great article a couple weeks ago, and it was talking about centralizing the cost of athletics, like at the district level. But then it also said, I'm cheating, I have it right here in front of me. It was so good, I saved it. And it was talking about like, but several things need to happen first, like a budget equity audit and then training for our administrators district-wide about budgeting and equity around that. So while that would be great to centralize it, and I do think that needs to happen, there are like other steps as well, but we also can't fully like take away the suggested donations because, yeah. And it really is clear, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I did have 2 parents recently reach out to me in a conversation and they felt that it was not clear that it was suggested, and that was why I planned on bringing it. And what should the suggested donation be? How should we be requesting it? Currently through some sports, it funnels like through a parent volunteer or a coach. So that's come up as a concern. Who should know who does and doesn't donate? Do we need to have a different way for parents to give the donation, a different format other than what we have we have like Blue Bear, we have all of these different applications, but really about centralizing even that, the ask and things like that, and just making it a little easier for those that want to donate, and then not put the pressure on and I coached for years. So Tony, have you asked your mom about, did you bring your donation? Like not purposely doing that, because you see the student, you don't see the parents and things like that. So just making sure, coming up with a plan to start removing that piece of needing the coach having to do the asking and things like that, but also not putting the onus on now every student athlete is having to bring $150 to the school site office, where they already have full-time jobs. they're doing, and this having to do that. So really trying to come up with a plan, start the discussion now, and hope to have we're new parameters in place on donations and how those are received by the district by July 1. So,
So
sorry.
when,
Yeah.
so when a parent does submit through RevTrack, is the coach knowing? Because I'm donating, just assuming like, you know, or you don't know. I like you or not, so I'm gonna give you my money.
So RevTrack, it is that piece is done at the site, like the
Okay.
site's account clerk level, and then they do put it into the individual account. So I guess it's not, I haven't used the website. I
Okay.
guess it's not great to use, but those funds do go directly to, but
To that, to the
Mhm,
team,
but
or is there a name attached?
it goes, the team see that it's deposited into their individual account. I don't believe that they see the name.
Okay.
Right, they don't see the name. And then, yeah. But and I wish I had that paper in front of me, but, it's a very small percentage of families that use RevTrack. So I'm wondering if is a piece of it. So yes, back to the, let's circle back to the transportation policy. Um, yes, parents are being requested. Sports teams are still fundraising. The district has given a contribution. The site is also using their discretionary funding, but with an understanding if there's something that is over the cost, that is at the secondary level, that we will have the conversation. At the elementary level, I don't believe they take as many field trips outside of the 22 miles. So what we did was we did an initial allocation of it was roughly $1,000 that was per class. Like you could likely take 2 close buses throughout the year. Not all grade levels are taking field trips where they need busing. And so the site is also determining, because that is a transportation allocation specific for field trips, that we're not saying you can, as $1,000 per teacher. What we gave as an allocation, if you have 20 teachers, we gave $20,000. So we're not so that way the site can make it work for them at the elementary level. And we haven't really received feedback one way or the other I haven't from the elementary. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments on that board policy? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? All right, moving on to our community workforce agreement approval, part 2. Amanda, can you tell us about this one?
Yes, this is very exciting. We have been actively working on this agreement since it was first brought to the board on August 27th. And right before the election, we came to an agreement, and just really wanted to bring it back, though we did have the authority. There was really no substantial changes, but I think it's important to highlight the work that was done and what changes were made. So those specifically, there was language changes to work stoppages and non-payment issues. It was to clarify the handling of non-payment of wages and benefits and the conditions for withholding labor with penalties for non-payment. Some exclusions were refined in the legal references to align with the California Public Contract Code and other relevant laws. One of the other great pieces that we were able to build into this is we can continue doing things under our CUPCA, which is just over $200,000 bidding, which makes it just a little bit more ease when working on smaller projects. And then we did some clarifying language on the anti-discrimination policies and compliance, and that was specifically around veterans.
for that piece of it. And one of the things that took so long is we spent a lot of time talking about the difference between temporary and modular buildings. We look at the temporary buildings for, like Pengrove had, we brought in the modulars so the work could be done and our students were housed. We need to get those in and we need to get them out as quickly as possible. And so one of the hangups was the language around either allowing the modular company or our own staff. We do have qualified staff who can hook up and things like that. Not, I know it's wonderful, not aligning it specifically to the workforce agreement, only because they don't work with all modular companies and they can be hard to get on short notice. So there was that piece. And then we did clarify the new buildings at Pengrove are a modular building. And it's important that through this agreement that we work with companies that do work with our labor partners. So it was really distinguishing the two pieces. And I think everybody walked away from this agreement feeling like we got exactly what we needed to support both sides. So it was a great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. The lawyers had a lot of fun going back and forth. But it was, yeah, really nice to see it come together. Our labor partners are super stoked. And that reminds me of an activity I forgot. I went to the North Bay Labor Council's COPE banquet, and 3 of our awesome students at San Antonio and CASA and our teacher, Eric Smith, were given awards for their work with the employer, Subway, the franchisee that was holding their wages and not paying them. So they were awarded at that labor dinner. So it was great to see that. Yeah. So is there a motion?
I move to approve the community workforce agreement.
A second.
All right. Any other questions or comments on the community workforce agreement? Yes. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. We got our community workforce agreement. Now moving on to ed services, we'll do second reading of our new ethnic studies course proposal. Course proposals, really. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're bringing back the 3 courses for ethnic studies that was shared at the last board meeting. The next steps for us is really securing training for our staff that are interested in teaching it and making sure we can schedule those at a time that's convenient and allows for them to start teaching the course. Ideally, we'd want them to have the training before they teach the course, but it is allowed to have the teach the course while they're doing the training. But we're working with SCO and also with ethnic studies providers to do the training as soon as possible as well.
I have a question. So like the ELA, the 9th grade ELA class with ethnic studies, is that going to be all 9th grade ELA classes, or do the students select one or the other?
No, I don't believe it will be all 9th grade classes. I think it would be depending on the teachers who receive the training and how many kids may sign up for that
Same
course.
with
Yeah,
the US history?
correct.
component?
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I need a motion first. Sorry. We need to, yeah. Someone needs to move. Yeah, but it's okay.
I move to approve the new course proposal for ethnic studies.
All right, Sheldon, go for it.
Ton, can you just remind me, all the course proposals are year long, sorry, this is fantastic. The law requires is it a semester only?
The law only requires, yeah, a semester. And when we get into the next graduation requirement, I was going to bring up, actually, we could probably just wait till then. Yeah, the law just requires a semester.
All right. Any other questions or comments? I know, I want to go back to high school.
Yeah, I
get through that
commend the ethnic studies committee. They really poured their heart into this and really went beyond the mandate to really create courses that truly, hopefully embody what we expect out of an ethnic studies course.
All right. All in favor of approving these course proposals? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, hearing none, they are approved, and we'll move on to our second reading of the board policy 6146.1 graduation requirements. Can I hear a motion first?
I move to approve the board policy 6146.1 graduation requirements.
All right, Tony, tell us about.
Yeah, so I know my team had presented this graduation requirement recommendation and getting feedback from the board. There made some slight adjustments around credit, total credits required. And one piece in there that I wanted to bring up with the ethnic studies, at least, it's yes, 5 credits required, but all of our courses are year-long courses. Our Ethics Studies Committee, made the suggestion and recommendation that maybe we should offer Ethics Studies as 10 credits because our courses are year-long and we don't want students to decide to drop out half semester, and we want them to experience the full year and ensure that they have that experience. Unless there's other recommendations, I would adjust the Ethnic Studies to reflect 10 credits as opposed to 5. But all of these, third-year sciences, we've been out of compliance with NGSS, and that's something that we need to move towards and make sure that we can be in compliance with the third-year science and the separation of the visual and performing arts as a requirement as opposed to a choice. And then foreign language being 2 years as opposed to 1, and a third year of math. And all of these align to help support students that as we saw in the SSU College Promise, allow students to not have to figure out if they're on the right path. This just automatically puts them on that path. Of course, they still need to get a C or better if they want to actually be eligible for CSU, but they'll still graduate if they don't, if they get a D. But at least they don't have to wonder if they took the right classes or not. They'll all be on that path.
That was my thought when I saw the presentation, immediately, was that really supports, well, they both support each other, but to have it A through G, it just takes that element away from the students having to worry about it or the counselors. It's just, yeah, and it would be nice to combine those two things in any kind of PR communication that we're doing with parents and students about, first of all, the promise, but also the grad requirements. That if you do this.
I just had a comment or question about the sequencing when I was at office hours at CASA. Lisa Kane brought up, because I believe that anytime we talk about the financial literacy, it's like 9th, 10th grade, but her and Maggie Steiner were saying it's more suited for 11th, 12th grade. So I just wanted to just note that.
Yeah,
I don't know if we've done the sequencing yet, but.
No, but I believe the understanding is that it would be 11th, 12th grade course. Yes.
All right.
I'm sorry, I just wanted, along with that, could that be embedded the way that ethnic studies is in a regular, like econ class
Yeah,
or?
so I think so the thing is in 2026, they're supposed to come out with a clear framework that we would follow, and that in the event that they don't, then we're responsible for creating that. So it's still a little in the, but yes, economics is being considered as as fulfilling the financial literacy. However, I think with a lot of our teachers, we recognize that, that financial literacy I think goes a little bit above beyond what they might be learning economics, and making it a separate course might be beneficial for our students. Yeah.
Okay, I understand that this is for incoming freshmen, but is there any concern that this year's freshmen who will be sophomores next year will fulfill their requirements before their senior year?
Fulfill what?
Because they now have 7 periods instead of 6.
Right, so their requirements won't change.
No, and I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm just wondering how that will affect those kids who have 220 credits, and take some classes at the JC before their senior year, halfway through their senior year.
Yeah, so, and that's where, looking at master scheduling and compulsory education, and it might help with some of the staffing issues that we may, as we're trying to navigate that with a 7-period day, gives us a little bit of a buffer. Assuming students, meet 200 credits by their junior year and they still need to take like English and government and econ, and they still have these other periods. Hopefully, they are pursuing more rigorous courses, AP courses, or SRGC courses. But I think generally speaking, compulsory education requires them to be in school from 8:30 to 3:30 or whenever the board says the school starts and ends. Even if they've met the requirements, they're still expected to be in classes, and we'd want them to be in classes. And we have a lot of, I think, interesting classes that kids would want to take, and build that intrinsic motivation to learn. And the skills that they would learn in these courses hopefully will also benefit them as they enter the workforce. But at least it gives us a lot of flexibility for students who may need to work, or students who want to do internships, or students that want to take SRJC or explore other options. I think those students have that option with this new 7-period schedule as well. Yep.
Just want to say thank you for raising the credits required to 250.
Great. This is exciting stuff. I'm excited to see 3 years of science. Yeah, I'm a little extra scared about staffing, but we'll make it work, right, Jason? We're gonna do it. All right. All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we got new graduation requirements starting for the class of 2029. Not starting tomorrow. Okay. Moving on to ELOP plan update.
So the ELOP is just an update, and they were very minor updates, mostly grammatical, changing multilingual or changing English learners to multilingual learners, and eliminating the YMCA out of there. We have to post it and put it on our website and make it public, so we need to just make these slight changes to it. So they're just minor changes around that.
First, can I hear a motion?
I move to approve the ELOP plan.
I second.
I move to change the logo to our current logo. Okay. Just kidding. Yeah, if we could change the logo when we upload it. I don't think it actually needs to be a motion. I'm just being silly.
Bless you.
Yeah, it didn't look like any big substantive changes. Any
It's great
questions
though
or
to
comments?
see how wonderful the new logo looks in comparison.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we have approved the updated plan with the updated logo. Moving on to comments from the public on discussion and information items. I have no cards in front of me. I see no public charging. So we'll move on to those items. So first up is 16.1.1. Board policy 4119.24, maintaining appropriate adult-student interactions. If anyone here really wants to read that board policy, you can come get it from one of us. We'll gladly share with you. And we will review it real quick before we approve it. Or we don't have to approve it. It's only the first reading, so it'll be attached. It'll be.
Do you guys want to? Okay.
You should each have 3.
Okay.
All right.
Everybody.
If anyone wants a copy, we have extras here. I sent all 3 to you right now. So they are identical policies as I put in the situation. These are optional policies that we don't have, but I'm sorry that you're looking at it for the first time now, but they are you'll see that they're good policies to have in place. It talks about appropriate interactions of adults or employees with students. It does talk a little bit about mandated reporting when an employee notices an inappropriate interactions or inappropriate relationships. It also gives concrete examples about inappropriate conduct, which identifies some of those kind of murky gray areas that you'll see. They list some very concrete examples. So 41 1924 is for certificated staff. 421924 is for classified staff, and 431924 are for administrative staff. The language in these are all identical. The placement in the policy, like in the 4100s, 4200s, 4300 delineates which staff which staff member category it's addressing.
This looks great and sad that we have to spell it out, but better safe than sorry.
I think it is. I think it's great from an HR position. It's nice to be clear. Clear is kind, and this is pending because we don't currently have this policy in place, so we're adding it in.
So these will be up for action on December 10th?
Yeah, they'll be coming back. Yeah.
Are they shared with our athletic directors and coaches? Just because I see a lot about social media,
They
communications through social media, and I don't know if all of our social media accounts are run by the district or by the sites. If they're set up by a coach or a parent, and then the students are following and communicating.
we can't. Well, if this isn't shared yet because this is the first time, but this could be once we've approved it. We absolutely can share this out with our staff,
Okay.
especially. I mean, I think you're thinking athletic programs and stuff
Yeah.
would be key. Yeah, absolutely.
Jason, say one more time, which is for certificated, which is for classified?
So if you put them in order, the
Yeah.
first one is certificated, the 41.
Okay.
The 42 is classified.
Okay.
And the 43 is administrative.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah. All right. Any comments or questions on any of those first three about maintaining appropriate adult-student interaction? All right, moving on to equally fun, first reading of policies about discrimination and sex-based harassment. This time it is attached, so we don't need to pass out the papers. Jason, tell us about sex discrimination and sex-based harassment.
So this is an existing policy, and we're bringing this forward because there are recent updates to the Title IX regulations, and we wanted to make sure our policy was in line with that and updated to it. So you can see in the policy, the additions are in red. And just are keeping us current with all the new laws.
The updates on Title IX you're talking about in the Biden administration, right?
Yeah, it was 2024. Esmeralda and I just went to a training
Okay.
a couple months ago, and we said, oh, it looks like we need to update our policies. So and this was the result of
It
it.
may happen again. I mean, that's,
Yes.
Title IX took a hit in the prior Trump administration.
Yes, I was hearing on the news about some comments about that same fact, and I was thinking about this policy, and we
Yep, let's get it as modern as possible. It
Yeah.
looks like the most modern ones I've seen because it contains things like even termination of pregnancy being a protected class. So yeah, let's get those protections in. Well, we can.
Yeah, so we will bring this back for action as well at the next meeting.
Any questions about any of the three that are about sex discrimination and sex-based harassment?
I just have something about the Title IX coordinator.
In the AR.
In the AR.
Yes, that
I'm
needs-
sorry, I didn't print it out, which I always print everything
No.
out and I didn't. And so I don't know which one it is. So
The AR, the Title IX position for that will be updated for the next reading. That will be human resources, because this is in the personnel section. So like all the Title IX issues that are with personnel go through the human resources and the student ones in that category
That
goes through,
part.
that's Esmeralda. So, yeah.
So, well, I was just gonna ask if when that is done, or add it to, if there is one here, anyway, that it's listed on the website and updated when necessary, and it's included in training who that person is on each campus, how to approach them, because I know that we've run into this before where no one knows who the Title IX coordinator is.
Or the website says
Or
someone
the
that hasn't
website
worked here in
says
3
somebody
years.
that retired 10 years ago, so.
Yeah, no.
It hasn't been that bad recently.
No,
Since we
no,
got
but
here,
what I'm
but
saying is that
yeah.
can we have it in the policy so that it's actually followed and, so
Oh.
that there can be something so that there's accountability for it.
We,
And on the website too, so that on our website for each one of our school sites, I think that's even more what I was aiming at, was that the websites are updated with who the person is and maybe attach the policies and then updated.
Yeah, what I probably will do then is I probably will bring back the board policy and we will bring the AR to you at a future time when we can work some of those additions in.
Okay.
I know that we have been talking in cabinet about the idea that some districts, for example, are having their principals be the Title IX reps and training principals. Like we need to have some conversations about how we actually train people at sites to be Title IX reps, because we
Yes.
list people and don't always have training for those people. So
That's
it
right.
doesn't serve the purpose.
Actually, I had that include trainings.
Yeah. So we'll work that one and bring that back to you, the AR back at a future time.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. All right, any other questions on the policies and regulations about sex discrimination and harassment? All right, going on to business services, first reading of exhibit 3517. That's the facilities inspection. I don't know why she's what? Why?
It's the first thing that you brought up, menstrual products.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago. Well, and then the state, well, I brought it up and then like 6 months later, the state was like, yeah, Caitlin was right. It's required. Okay, take it away, Amanda.
All right, though we have a current board policy for 3517, we do not have the attached exhibit that says that we need to have menstrual products in schools that have grades 3rd through 12th grade. And this just points out that since it is a state mandate, they will reimburse us for any costs we occur. And that there does need to be a person that is in charge of the inspecting it. And at our district, it is the director of maintenance and operations. And this will list the telephone and email address for anybody who has any concerns.
Cool. So the state has to pay for it? Because I mean, when all the kids flushed it back in the day and like clogged up all the pipes, can we bill the state back from that? That was like a couple years ago.
Well,
Probably
we-
not that
No,
long
we
ago, but-
actually just did
Yeah.
our first, so last year was the first year of reimbursement and we just received the link from the state. So I'm not saying we've gotten any money, but they've asked us what we spent. So
Okay.
step one.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's exciting. They're funding a mandate?
Yeah.
They're funding, the state of California is
probably-
funding a mandate?
It's probably going to be a payable, but
Yeah. Wow. I feel old now. Great, that's exciting. And then the AR for transportation for school-related trips.
all right, as requested by the board, I bring to you, this is not back,
Yeah.
man, regulation 3541.1, transportation for school related trips. And what we put in here was, it starts with just like how parents, we kind of wrote how parents can request the waiver for transporting their own students. We added how each site can make the request for buses and vans. It's the new website, but it gives the directions and also puts in the timeline that we need to know 10 days in advance when it all, unless it is a playoff game or an emergency trip. And just that buses are on a first come, first served basis, and that as always, home to school transportation takes the priority. And that the director of transportation is the person responsible to ensure that when we charter a bus, the school pupil activity bus license is verified. Another thing that we do in our district that is that all charter buses are inspected by our district mechanic to ensure that all of the safety standards are met, which is great too. What we added to this policy was a chance for the board to discuss exceptions to the district-wide transportation policy. So what we did was we looked through CSBA's current policy for districts that do not allow, because that was an option. We chose the 22, but districts generally do or do not allow transportation by private vehicle. And then I also did research on what other districts in California are doing. So these are just suggestions for the board to discuss and we'll bring it back. But what we came up with is outside of the 22 miles is if there is no district vehicle available, as long as the request was made within the timeline, if the trip is more than 100 miles one way and or a multi-day trip with no daily transportation. So if they're staying at a convention and they don't need to go back and forth, will we allow private drivers for the trip for the ski and snow excursion is always built into that. Not that we're taking anybody any there, but our buses are not equipped for that. I didn't want to not put it in and then somebody
good to
takes
put
a
it
trip
in.
to Reno.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's standard in most policies. So we went ahead and left it. And then this also gives the authorization for if the trip involves a specialized event or destination that justifies extended travel. The playoff game is kind of a good example that I discussed earlier because the goal is for the team to leave around 8 or 9 in the morning to drive the probably it's going to be 4.5 hours on the bus. If you've been on that road, they can get there, they can have a meal, they can take their time, even though they're not playing until the late afternoon, they can do their coaching practice and then have the game and then head back in circumstances like that. So the current plan in order to do that is bus drivers can only drive a certain amount of time that they actually have to have 2 drivers. So essentially one is driving up and then another charter is taking home. So you're in a way by having the extended time, you're paying for more. So this also gives authority to make decisions in a situation like this, should we allow approved private drivers or not? It gives some reasons for exceptions. Those were the different ones that we came up with, which are relatively standard in California. Hit me.
Any questions or comments, especially on the exceptions? Any other exceptions you would want to see? Any exceptions you don't think make sense? I think that they all make sense. I'm sure there might be one more that would, but I can't think of it. Like,
I appreciate your work on this and the input that we got from our stakeholders at the sites. I really appreciate it. We're moving in the right direction. This is very positive.
So people are going to request a waiver from the school's administrative office. And do they have the waiver?
We are working on one.
Okay, and then will this be communicated? Because the big issue, well, one of the issues was the sports driving. Because it feels like, again, just being a parent of kids who play multiple sports in our district. Like, it feels like it's not getting to the athletics, right? So it's like the elementary, they're on it with the field trips and the waivers and all that. But with the coaching, not feeling the same. And not from all of them, but from enough.
Agreed. So if this comes back for board approval at the next meeting, I think this is a great opportunity to also discuss what the actual requirements are for our private drivers, along with updating our forms. We've been working on updating our field, not the overnight. We will work on that too, but just updating our forms too, yes, and communicating that out. I think that we likely will, I'll work with site administrators to go to either have a meeting like we did before, include the athletic directors, or go to if there's like a winter or a spring sport, parent night. Oh, females. Like even talking it there, but also sending out an updated to all, we can send it out via Parent Square to the whole, to parents and teacher, all employees, just with the updated, and I think that would be a great reminder. Who qualifies as a parent driver, who qualifies as a district employee. We, the first van is like, of the new vans is being driven here. Like one has cleared a title because they're used, so they take a while to get to us. But like who is a district employee, a volunteer coach, a paid coach? Can a parent sign up to be they can't, but this has been a question, like a team parent, and all drive, and just, I think, being very clear on, as we bring these all online, what it is, and just put it out via Parent Square. So if there's questions, people can direct it back right to that. And on our district website, we do have a transportation board page.
Building on that, on athletics particularly, I'm wondering the section that says, requesting district transportation, it says district buses will be reserved on first come basis. I get that for, one-off types of events like field trips, but, my hunch is that the athletic programs know their travel schedules, very early. And it seems like we could facilitate coordinating the allocation of transportation among the sports as opposed to just whichever coach is on top of it first. I know we hired some coaches this year, like, while the season was happening even, or after it had started, the practice had started, and, that those coaches would be left out of the first come basis type of rule. So maybe that's something to chew on to see if we can, I don't know how the conference, when their schedules come out for which sports, but maybe there's a centralized time when you can look at the season's sports all at once. And 2 years, really? Dang, okay.
And the athletic directors at where transportation is being requested is going, specifically, I know at Petaluma High, it went through the athletic director, and like there was a whole, when we met, he already had a whole spreadsheet of like all of those requests. And to your point, I think it's going to become more important once we receive all 4 vans, because the goal right now is to kind of house 2 at each comprehensive high school, but there will be times when one site needs more, and we are really going to need to have some sort of system in place specifically for the vans.
All right. Anything else on transportation for school? I mean, I know there's other things, but anything else right now, tonight on that AR? All right. Do on it for a couple weeks and it'll be back on the 10th. Moving on to Ed Services, new course proposals. We got 4 new course proposals.
Yes,
Wow.
so 2 of them are CTE related, and they're the capstones. That's the HOSA 4 and the exotic husbandry 2. So those will complete our pathways for those. And the other one is is accelerated math 2B3, the second year. I think the first year was approved already. And this is just an opportunity for kids to have an acceleration point in math if they didn't receive it in junior high. So that if they missed it in 7th grade, they have this option to do an accelerated math course as well. And then the other one is current events for upper grades. That's just an additional elective, considering that we'll have more elective options and giving students something interesting around current events and the social components of that.
Great. Any questions or comments about any of the new courses? Yeah. Awesome. All right. Moving on to student services. Regulation about Title IX, sex discrimination and sex-based harassment, complaint procedures for when all those policies don't work. Yeah.
Yes, so I brought the board policy last month. This is the regulation for your information. There's also an exhibit attached, which is the complaint procedures for Title IX prior to the new updates in August 2024. So we've got if anything happened prior to August 2024 and what happens now in terms of the procedures.
Great. Any questions or comments? All right, moving on to future business. Nobody? Okay. Okay, Sheldon, we'll start with you. You have any? Yeah, he's out. He's like, whatever.
So they can see.
You only have one more chance this is your penultimate chance to request future business. He's gonna drop all the problems on our lap on the 17th and be like, bye. Yeah. All right, Maddie, do you have future business?
Okay. So I have, okay, I think I have like 3 that came up in, basically at office hours. There doesn't seem to be any onboarding, for new teacher trainings in elementary required curriculum. And so I think, I just like to figure out an update on that. I know we've talked about it in our CIC meetings, on how to have new teachers be comfortable with required curriculum. And so a teacher came in and it's really hard. She's an experienced teacher, but she's new to the district. And so she kind of had a sense of how to use some of the required curriculum for the school, for elementary. This was specifically elementary. No. This is curriculum training. Oh, got it. This is like real training on how to use it, and how to use it with fidelity was really what she was saying. So looking into how we can incorporate that into professional development, but it has to be a lot more. It has to be right before they start school. The librarians and the PCS book challenge policy is already finished. And so, but it hasn't been brought forward for whatever reason. I think it just fell through the cracks. And so they were hoping, especially after the election, that we need to get this, the challenge policy before us so that we can vote on it. No, they have it. They have it already. Yeah, no, they've had it ready since last year, I guess.
I thought they said they not have it.
No, I talked to somebody, I don't remember.
I mean, then if they send it, we can,
bring it.
we can vote on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it goes on the agenda. And then, when are we gonna see the Valley Vista new charter? The newspaper said we were gonna see it tonight. Thank God. So, and I've been gone, so I was kind of like, my husband actually sent me the article and I'm going, oh gosh, this is really come home to.
Yeah.
So, but I was wondering, I'd really want to see the charter before we take a vote on it.
Yeah, it will be on the December 10th agenda as a discussion item.
Okay.
And then basically it will be an action item on the December 17th.
Okay.
So you.
And that
And
would
yes,
be with
we
violating
can,
Brown Act, wouldn't it?
we can go ahead and look, but no, it's information. You can read the document, but we definitely can look into it. Tony, I know that you send it to basically legal to ensure that it complies with all of the legalities of it. And as soon as, have you heard as to when you may receive that back?
Yeah, Amanda actually submitted to our legal and we, as of now, have not, I don't think heard back yet, right?
It is a very long document. He hopes to have a full review of it after, right around Thanksgiving break.
So we will let you know as soon as the first week of December, perhaps. Hey, you can take it
We
and
can read it
enjoy
at
reading at CSBA.
Okay, that was it.
Do you have any future business? Yeah.
I wanted to highlight those comments and suggestions from Home First Petaluma
Mhm.
about McKinney-Vento families and students knowing their rights. Like she said, when she was meeting with families and surveying them, they didn't know about their rights.
Well,
and
and a
then-
lot of them don't even know that they're homeless
Yeah.
or don't consider themselves homeless. It's
Yeah.
heartbreaking, but it's, yeah.
Yeah. And then that was, thank you,
Right.
Caitlin,
Yeah.
for that segue. I don't know what the word, I know I talked with Amy about this, like the wording on the housing questionnaire, and I don't know if there's a way to make it more clear, or even if someone fills out the housing, let's say it's crystal clear and they fill out the housing questionnaire, but then a staff member knows that that family is unhoused, I'm just hoping that there's more explicit training and follow-up for our staff to know that because it's the district's responsibility to identify the families, not the family's responsibility. I mean, we hope that they do, but in the end, it's up to us to make sure. And then I think we already brought up the fees. But then just again around athletics, and this has come up probably the whole time I've been on the board, just I would like maybe not a district-wide survey, but a secondary-wide survey of all of the families about their experience with our athletics. I know we've asked for end of season surveys about coaches and their experience, because I know a lot of times people don't want to say anything in the moment during the season because they're scared of retaliation from coaches about playing time, et cetera, for their children. But I would like to have some sort of survey at the end. How was your experience? Did you feel like, I don't know, we can talk about what the questions look like. Were you asked to fundraise beyond the rev track? How were you approached for that? Was the money that that they said they were going to raise for was actually used for that purpose? And then also just looking at some of the teams that are coached by club coaches, their teams are made up of club players. So I don't see how that's equitable. If, like, your whole team is your club team, or all the kids are club kids. And I like that done soon. I mean, ideally by the end of the year. I know that their capacity is an issue, but at least by the end of the school year. Yeah. You gotta turn your microphone.
Because there's sports that have ended already, and it would be very timely to put out a survey quickly after they've ended, rather than waiting till the end of the year.
But I think I would still want that input until we're able to build the capacity to survey families after every season.
Right.
Yeah. Just because this continues to come up over and over again.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to reporting out from closed session. I think we have one to report out on. The board voted unanimously to approve the settlement in case number SS 2425-03. And with that, I adjourn our meeting at 9:22 p.m.